Hello. Hi. How's
Hi.
everyone doing? Oh, my voice didn't want to come out today. All right. Hi there.
Hi.
Nice to meet you all. Lovely to see some new faces. I My name is Diana Musacchio, and I I'm not going to do a full-on introduction or whatever until everyone's here, but a lot of the people that are coming later are people who already know me. So in a way, you guys are the people who don't know me. So yay. Hi. Um I was just before starting class, I was just choking on something and it's still there. So give me a second. Not choking scarily, but you know when you goes down the wrong way. See if I can get some voice um coming back. All right. So let me just turn on this thing. Okay. So welcome. We have a little bit of time just to deal with a few things that are personal to having been in my Zoom class before. And then after that, we're going to deal with stuff about where the class files, how to handle that, Photoshop, who has it, who doesn't, VDI, not VDI. And then by the time we're done with that, the rest of us are going to join us, okay? So first thing you might notice that someone already did a little hello on the chat because Patricia, hi, nice to see you again. Patricia has been in my class before. So she already knows the first thing we are going to do is going to head straight into the chat and give a little hey ho. So thank you, Patricia, for the salutation. And let's go ahead and say hi there. Good afternoon. I'm here. Whatever you feel like saying. In the chat where now I wrote it. And here's the question I have. How many of you have taken a Zoom class before? Right? Live Zoom class like this? Nope. All right. So many people have been taking online courses and things like that, but that's different than a Zoom class, right? Where it's kind of like it's live, only you're there and I'm here. But we're going to be doing the work at the same time. I'll be demoing things. You have to do it on your, at the same time. Suddenly you get stuck and you're like, oh, I don't know how to proceed. And if I can't talk you through it, then you have to share your screen and I'll go, oh, this thing isn't clicked. And then you continue, right? So I'll be seeing your work. You'll be seeing mine and we'll be working parallel. So I'm going to set up how we're going to do that part of the class first, the whole like, how's it going to work? The first thing is that I asked a general question and I said, how many of you taken a class before? And I didn't tell you how to respond. A couple of you nodded, others said no. Angelina wrote, yes, I have. So once there's many of us, the way to answer that kind of thing is going to be actually more specific to using the little emojis that come with the class with Zoom. So if you look down at all the little buttons that come with Zoom, audio, video, and keep going to the right, one of them should have a heart and it says react. You find that one? Click on that one and you'll see someone in the middle. There's a long row where on the left side, there's a green check mark and a red X. You see those? All right. So if you're going to say yes to something, everyone say yes to me now. Give me the green check mark. Great. Now, Patricia already knows all this. That's why she's kind of hanging out there. She and should have come a bit later, but I'm so glad you came now. All right. Then if you want to change your answer to a no, just click on the no. But if you want to turn off your yes for any reason, just click again on the yes and it'll turn off. Okay. Now, most of the times you don't turn off your yeses or nos, you leave them on. And then, for example, I'm going to say, if you are on a Mac, give me a yes. If you're on a PC, give me a no. So go ahead. Yes or no if you're on a Mac or on a PC. Oh, one more thing. And I'm noticing only because I'm looking at the only guy in the class whose name seems to be Mimi Hildebrand, and I have a feeling that that's not your name. And I don't have my roster open right now. So, and then we have Angelina, and then we have Gabi Diaz. So Angelina and Mimi, or so said Mimi, you need to change your names. Angelina, it's fine to have it say Angelina, but can you add your last name? And then whoever you are behind the word Mimi, can you please add your last name? And how you do it is you hover over your own video, and then on the top right of your videos, there's 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots, and the pull down somewhere in the middle will say rename. And then you can add your last name for Angelina. And if Gabby Diaz is fine, then that's enough. Some people, it says something totally different. Like, for example, so what's your name, sir, behind the Mimi brand? I want to open the roster. That way I don't have to guess, but, okay, so that's Walter Hildebrand. Why did I say Hildebrand? I think I have a student who's a Hildebrand. That's why. Hildebrand. Okay, so Walter. Perfect. Thank you. Now, if you're going to use this computer every time you start, yours will say again Angelina and yours will say Mimi. So unless you change it at the root level with Zoom, you sign in and put the name you want to show, then just know that every day when class starts, just change your name to add it. Sometimes I forget. And then at the end, I'll see just Angelina. And for the roster, for the attendance purposes, I need the last name in there. Okay. And then for me to know who you are, I'll probably start remembering Walter after a while, but it is confusing when out of the blue I see your name and I'm going to say, okay, you, me, no, what was your name? So I don't want to have to do that all the time. So it's fine. I can rename you too, but if you remember to rename yourself, that would be the first thing. All right. Now, notice that when I said, say yes or no, those things stayed on, right? Except for now, Gabby just turned yours off, but see how they stayed on? That's why I use those 3, because if you use all the rest, however fun they are to laugh at me or clap or do little thumbs up, is they disappear. Go ahead and try them. Give me a little thumbs up or something, and you'll see how it stays on for a couple of seconds. Do it with the emojis, Walter, please.
Oh, gotcha.
And pay attention that in like 2-3 seconds, I don't know how long, it'll disappear. So when I'm trying to gauge a group of 20 or 30, I want to see the ones that stay. And then I'll go, okay, you guys are doing this, you guys are doing that, you guys are doing this. That makes sense? So that's why I need those. But then say that I'm in the middle of lecturing and you have a question that isn't necessarily about what I'm saying. So if it's something about what I'm saying and you misheard, you can just speak up and say, hey, can you say that again? But if you have a thought suddenly that you want to ask me or share, the best way is to raise your hand. And the raised hand that I want is down there in the tools, right? So if you click on the same tools, notice that at the very bottom, there's a be right back and then a raise hand, right? So click on the raise hand. Jelena already did, and so she was the first one. So she popped straight up top left for me. Then came Gabby, then Walter. So whenever I say, okay, let me answer some questions, I'm going to say, okay, Angelina, yeah, what's your question first, right? So in the order that you raise your hands, your questions will be answered. Does that make sense? So then when Angelina's done, if she remembers to lower her hand, she can do it. If she doesn't, I'll lower her hand. But the problem is that if we both lower your hand, it'll raise up again. So sometimes you'll be up there again with your raised hand, and I'll be like, Angelina, is that an old hand? And basically that's like, have I already answered your question or not? And you'll go, no, it's a new question. Or no, you've already answered it, right? Because you might have a second question. So I tend to say, is that the same question or is it an old one? It could be that we both have lowered your hands, thus raising it again. All right. Cool. So that's with those. Yes, it's fun to play around with the other ones. I am the first one who enjoys having people ha 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 at a joke. But the ones that I need like answers to the class will be those 3. Raise hand, yes, and no. It's fine. Sometimes people need to step away. The plumber arrived, the kid needs dinner. It's a long class. I understand that. The one that you can use for that would be the one at the very bottom that says be right back. Okay. When you put be right back, then it helps me not be like calling on you. I'm like, Angelina. I'll just see this like, because if you turn your video off and I don't see you, I don't know if you're there or if you stepped away. So the be right back kind of tells me that you're just not there for a little bit and then you'll be right back and then I'll forget about, but if instead you're the kind of person who turns off their video and you're there, I'll be like, Gabby. And it's like, you're not even there and I wouldn't know. So if you're not going to be there, just let me know you're not there. And then when you're back, just turn that off and you're back. Does that make sense? Okay. Also when I ask, okay, if you're a PC or a Mac, it makes sense. I wouldn't know the answer, you would answer. But sometimes I'll say, okay, I demo something, I do something, and I'll go, okay, if this worked for you, if it's good, and you're like, oh, that was really easy. Of course it was this. And other people are not, then you might not answer because duh, it makes sense that it was easy, but I won't know that, right? So if I say, if you're done, if this worked out, give me a yes. If you're having trouble, if you have a question, if something's not working, give me a no. And then I'll get like greens and yeses, and then I'll go, okay, all my no people, I'll go, okay, how can I help you? Let me see if I can do this, do that. Okay, how about you share your screen? And so forth. Meanwhile, the people who have yes and have done it, I'm always going to encourage you to then open another one of the class images and perform the same features or functions on your own on something, which means that you would probably come back and have questions if it didn't work because there might be some new complication, or it might have worked and then you're like doubly awesome. Okay. So that's the way we're going to handle the class things. Now, a couple of times now I have said that if you have questions, I'll say, well, if it's not enough to answer, I'm going to say, like, if I don't understand, sometimes you can describe the question and that's good, but sometimes you can't describe the question. So if you can't describe it, then I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, share your screen. How many of you guys have shared your screen before on Zoom? Hmm? Perfect answer, meaning using the yeses and the nos. If the answer is no, or I'm not sure, or I done it so long ago that I don't know how to do it, then give me a no, because now we're going to set that up. If you're on a PC, it's a quick way to fix it. But if you're on a Mac and you have to share for the first time ever, you have to go through a lot of permissions and settings and stuff. So I'm going to walk you through that. So Angelina and Walter, let me walk you through sharing your screen. So Angelina, let me start with you. You said you were on a PC, so it should be a couple of clicks. Down there next to the chat, you should see the share button. It's green with an up arrow. And if you don't see it, it might be behind or under the three little dots. Do you see it? Next to the audio, video, chat, all of that, there's a green button that says share. Now, sometimes it's hiding under three dots. Like if your window is really small, it'll say more, three little dots, and you'll find it under there. Okay, go ahead and click on the share button. All right, so once you've clicked on it, there's another window that's appearing for you. The bottom of that window in the middle, there's a share in white letters with a blue button. Go ahead and click on that one. And oh, well, Walter did it and he's sharing. So awesome. Good to know that it works for Walter. I'm going to go ahead and stop your share. And now let's try it with Angelina. We can only do it one at a time, by the way. So if you're trying to share when someone else is sharing, it just won't allow you to. It'll say someone else is sharing or something like that. So Angelina, tell me what's up. What are you not seeing or seeing? Oh, you are doing it. Perfect. Okay, great. Awesome. Now, I'm going to stop your share, but you can also go up to the top and, go to the far right and it'll say stop sharing and you can pull down and stop sharing. For the most part, I'd rather stop your share in the sense that sometimes I'm in the middle of explaining something and people stop and I'm like, wait, I was still pointing something out. But if it's clear that I've stopped talking about your thing and we're moving on, then you can stop your share too. Okay, great. Angelina and Patricia have answered in the chat, but Gabby and Walter, you haven't written in the chat your little hey ho, I'm here. So can you please do it? It's like a little sign in to tell me you're there. Thanks. And cool. Next thing. Do you have Photoshop or not? And the reason I'm asking that is, do you not the reason I'm asking that is pretty clear why I'm asking that, but do you have Photoshop, Creative Cloud installed and Bridge installed? I sent instructions. Sometimes people don't get them in time. So yes, yes, and no. Okay.
What's going on?
Angelina, Walter, I just muted you so that in the background you can talk. And so just so you know that next time you want to talk, you have to mute yourself because I just muted you. So Angelina, there's two options. You can either choose to purchase it, and I'll show you that, or you can use VDI. Purchasing it would be either $50 or $100. $50 for 6 months, $100 for a year, or use VDI, which is free. It's more complicated, but totally doable. There's always a few people in class who do VDI. So, have
VDI.
you VDI? Okay, have you practiced getting into VDI and
I didn't
doing all
have a
that work?
chance. I'm so sorry.
Okay, because that is a few steps. Did you at least set up your two-factor authentication code? Okay, so what we need to do is set up your two-factor authentication code first, and then I'll show you how to do VDI. That'll take me a little while. So let me, what?
I don't want to stop the rest of the class if they've
No.
already done it.
No,
If
this
you
is
want
that
me to
part.
do it.
This is
Okay.
what that part is for.
Okay.
Walter and Gabby, you guys have Photoshop, and do you have Bridge installed? Yes, both of you guys? Okay, so how about you do this? Just tune out for about 10 minutes. It's 5:17. Come back at 5:27, and hopefully I'm all set up with Angelina. Okay, and we'll keep going with the stuff, class files, all that kind of stuff again that is just for this little mini group before everyone else shows up at 6. Okay, so see you guys in 10 minutes. Angelina, go ahead and share your screen, and we're gonna just do it directly. You're gonna do it and I'll walk you through it. Okay, open a browser, whatever browser you're gonna use. Chrome or Firefox work best. Okay, go to my.sbcc.edu and sign in.
What am I going to? I'm sorry.
Go up to where it says search Google or type a URL. I mean, you can do it there too, but it's a my.sbcc.edu. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I did do that.
I don't know. Try again.
That is so strange. I never had that happen before.
My.sbcc.edu. I'm not sure what ended up happening, but let's try it one more time. I can put the link otherwise, but it's better if you know.
Yeah,
'Cause you'll have-
yeah, my.sbcc.edu.
hit return or enter. There we go. Username and password. Do you know it? Cool.
Yeah, 1 second.
No problem.
I've never had this happen.
Hmm. Maybe because you're on Zoom. Do you want to sign in and then share?
Let me see if there's another. There you go. Just wasn't reading my finger.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and we need to set you up for VDI with two-factor authentication. Do you have your phone with you nearby?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going into where it says my information. Let's see if you can get view update personal information. Let me see if that's where you would do it. Right under, there's a button. Yeah, click on that.
This one.
Yeah. And let me see if, go down there and see if one of those is the setup for two-factor. No, okay, so let me get into the class files and get you the link for the two-factor because hold on.
Okay.
Here we are. Let's do this. No, right? Add your personal email or phone. So first you log in, then choose registered email address or registered phones. So let's go to that. I guess go to personal info.
I think I want to be there. I want to
I'm
be
gonna
here.
go to my email addresses. Yeah, so I don't know, you left. Let me stop, by the way. Hold on, let me pause the recording. But all right, I've been talking for quite a while before I started the recording again. I stopped it because Angelina was putting in some passwords and personal information, but now all that portion is gone, but that's okay because it was mainly helping you on VDI. So for people who are watching this later, yay, you missed that part. Now we need to, I'm explaining how to get you to work on the computer while I am demoing and you're working at the same time. If you have a second screen, a possibility of sitting next to your TV where you can connect it, or if you have an iPad, then say yes and go get it now and bring it back. Go do that. Your life is that much easier. If you don't have one, then oh, that's a yes, Walter. Okay, go grab whatever that thing is. And Angelina, you too? Okay, go grab that thing. And when you come back, we'll continue. Everyone come back with the gold. Again. All right, I'm starting the recording again because Walter came back with his computer and I'm going to walk you through it. On the second screen, you need to look for the email. Click on Zoom and connect to the Zoom. You'll be connected twice. All right. Talk me through it or tell me whatever it is.
Why don't you go on until I can get this thing? I hate to hold up the whole class.
No, Gabby's still looking for hers and so is Angelina. This
Okay.
is the time I dedicate to this, so it's okay. People are coming at 6. We still have 45, 43 minutes. So, sorry, 15, 13 minutes. We're fine-ish. All right, Angelina or Gabby, are you guys back yet? Okay. Okay, Gabby, you joined from your iPad. Okay, great. So whenever you get asked to join with sound, say no. Okay, so I'm going to admit you now, Gabby, and it'll say join with sound, and you should say nope, No, thank you on the second device. Doesn't matter which is whichever second device you use to connect in, just we want one sound per room. Like right, there we go. All right, so can you say something now, Gabby? Unmute yourself. Okay, great. No reverb, so that worked. No sound. All right, so on the pad, you're gonna look and watch and see the demo, and on the other one, on the, how do you call it? On the computer that you're using to work, you'll do the actual work. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and here's Angelina. So Angelina, on the second computer, don't join sound. Where it says connecting to audio, tell it nope, no thanks. And it'll say continue. Are you sure? You'll go, yep, nope, don't, thank you. And it'll go, are you sure? You go, nope, nope, don't want it. Otherwise you have to leave the audio because otherwise it does that big bzz reverb. Perfect. And now go to your original computer and you're on Be Right Back mode. So go ahead and unmute yourself there and let's see if the sound is good. Okay, so they're connected. Walter, let me know what's up so that I can support you.
Well, sure what the
Great.
password is.
Are you having, okay. So listen, don't worry too much. You can do that during break. You can do that next time. Basically, though, let me address the original question, which has reminded me then to have everyone else get their second computers, is that whenever you need to see, whoops, Angelina, your second computer, your first one disappeared. Did you do that on purpose? Angelina? I don't know if you can hear me because you're not responding. Angelina? Okay. Hi, Angelina. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Nice to see you. So Angelina, I see you on the new computer now, but I don't see you on the original one. It's like you dropped out of that one. I can't hear you at all because I told you not to put sound on the second one. You should be on two. And it's okay, you can connect in a minute, but the reason you're on two, on the new one, you just watch, you just see me do the demo. And on your original one, you do the work. But why do I need you connected to both is because at some point you're going to be stuck like you were. And I'm going to say, okay, share your screen and I can help you. So if you're not on Zoom on the one that you're doing the work, then I can't help you. You know how you shared your screen for me to walk you through VDI. So both computers have to be connected to Zoom. Does that make sense? And if not, and Walter, this is you right now, until you can connect the second one, then on the screen that you have, if I'm filling your screen, what I need you to do is first go to your keyboard and find the escape key, which is your top left key on the keyboard. That's the ESC for escape. Hit that one time. Make sure you're on Zoom, right? Hit that one time. And then that allows you to now grab with your mouse the corners of Zoom and make that window smaller so that it occupies only a portion of your screen. Then on the other portion of your screen, you'll open Photoshop and Bridge and do your work there. Does that make sense? You'll have to divide one screen into two things. Angelina, since you still don't have sound, or can you speak? No, because you're not on sound on this one. You still need to reconnect with your original computer. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what the problem is. Sounds like there's a problem there. But is there an issue? Because if you have a very slow a slow connection or something, it might not work for you to have No, you do seem to have sound on this one. Angelina, the computer you have has sound. Your other one's the one that you have on VDI, and that one needs to stay there. The reason I need it connected to Zoom is so that if you have issues, you can share your screen. But I can't hear you. You do something's off because your sound is connected. You didn't disconnect from audio, but I can only hear you speak. But I just need one to work and the other one was working. Okay. All right. Walter, were you able to kind of move things around so now that you can see the sample and you can see Photoshop?
I'm still working on it.
All right, let's do this. Don't focus on the other computer at all.
Okay, yeah.
Oops. Whoops, I lost Jennifer on both now. So hopefully she can figure her way back in. Not sure why it wouldn't let her connect to the second one, but anyway. So Walter, we were working on how to get to the class files, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spend a little bit more time showing that. And when I share my screen now, right?
Mhm.
Then it's going to be, actually give me a second. I'm just noticing that I need to do one more thing. Here we go. Angelina is coming back in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All right. So yeah, so I can hear you now. You can say connected to one only if you want. The idea of the second one is so that you can watch on that one and work on this one, right? So I wasn't sure what was the issue that you could only do one at a time. Was there something limiting you?
I have two screens, two monitors.
Oh, two monitors on one computer. Got it. So
Correct.
that's the
So
best
I
solution.
logged
Okay.
out my laptop and I went to the computer. And I
If you
could
have,
hear everything you were saying, but you couldn't hear me, I guess. I don't know.
okay, good. So as long as you have one computer and two monitors, life is good. That's the perfect solution. All right. So
Great.
everyone else is beginning to show up. Hi, Ed. Nice to see you. Let me actually give me a second here. I need to go back and do one more thing. Okay, I was just having to set something up here with a link. Okay. And here we go. I just I wanted to take you to the next to where we do the homework, but some people we took a little bit longer than expected for this part. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get going with the class and then I will bring us back to here. But I'm having an issue with copy to another Padlet. All right, that's not good. Give me a second. This is not copying over. V1, V2. Okay, good. I just had to bring you guys in here. So there's a link that I needed you guys to have. Okay. Now, let me share my screen. I need you guys to come over. So before we went and grabbed everyone else's and we grabbed everyone else's I am we got into the weeds of things in my brain. I'm in a different space right now. So I'm going to share my screen again and start from zero. I was telling everyone how to get to the class files to download them. So the class files and the handouts and everything else that's going to be there is going to be in the My SBCC Google Drive. So we need to first sign into My SBCC, and then we need to go into the Google Drive. And that's the part that became a little bit more complicated than it used to be to get to the Google Drive. So I'm going to re-share this because some people who are in class right now haven't taken it for a few times. So maybe Patricia or Ed, if you're getting the files, if you're doing any of this, you need to get in there a little bit more differently. So my.sbcc.edu. And this is kind of where we stopped because that's when we discovered that I had forgotten to tell you about the second screen. So that's fine, Ed. Thank you. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh, hi, Peggy. I hadn't acknowledged your arrival. Nice to see you. Okay, so once you get into mysbcc.edu, over here on the left side, you have this round, not round, red bar. If you don't see that red bar, it's because you have a smaller window and that red bar disappears, and then you have to click on this little 3 thing icon to see it. So it's kind of like if you don't have enough space. If instead you have a bigger space for the computer and you pull it out, it just lives there. It doesn't matter which way you do it. If you have less space and you have it smaller, then I need you to get to that red bar. So go to these 3. It's hard to see, but there's 3 little lines right there. Click on that. And then scroll down, scroll down, scroll down until you get to Student Resources menu. Click on Student Resources menu. And then go to Student Resources. Now, I know that I'm leaving some people behind. Let me show you the whole process, and then I'll come back and give you more one-on-one. Then go to Student Resources, and then scroll down to Google Drive. When you get Student Resources menu, Student Resources, Google Drive. And that brings you to this, which will be your school Google Drive, and you need to go to Shared Drives. So that's the 4th thing. It's basically My SBCC, Student Resources menu, Student Resources, Google Drive, Shared Drive. So it's 4 steps. And I have a handout and I have a video showing you how to do this. So don't worry if this time it's like, wait, what's all this about? We'll get there. And you should be seeing Photoshop Shared Drive in the Shared Drive. And then you can double click on that and you're in the class handouts. Those of you who made it all the way here with me, and I know that it's not all of you, you can start by downloading this thing that says V2. Don't click on it. Just go to the 3 dots and say download. Okay, and it'll start downloading, and those are the class files. Now, I know that I've left people behind, so if you got there and that's good, give me a yes. And if you need support, I'm going to do it again, but I'm also going to have you guys share your screen if necessary. So Rebecca, I know that you're in my Friday class. These are some similar images and a lot of new ones, so you need to download it again. Okay, and then you can dump the first ones or something, but because Rebecca, I'm teaching one on Friday mornings that Rebecca is in, so there's a new set of files. Okay, so Angelina, Gabby, Walter, Peggy, yes or no, you got the files? I'm expecting mostly no's, but just in case someone did a yes.
I think since I registered late, I don't have access
Oh,
files yet, but I'm assuming that will happen in the next day or so.
okay, so then let me do this. Let me give you individual access. Give me a second. All right. Okay. I'm sharing refresh and let's see if it came in. Did it come in? To refresh on your screen, it might take a minute or so because I gave you individual access. Yeah, whoever signed in with paperwork, by the time the office gets around to signing you in, it might take a little bit before it pops in pipeline. That didn't work? Not yet. Keep refreshing. Okay, let me make sure. Is your username MF Caswell? Yeah, okay. So you have the access, so it'll pop in. Just keep refreshing or back out and get back into the drive. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna show you everything again. Maybe it's easiest if someone shares a screen. Walter, do you want to share your screen and I'll show it on your screen so that I'll walk you through it and then people can, because when I see people walking through it, that's when you get into hitches, right? And that's where people have their questions. So do you mind sharing again? Gabby, you didn't get to it either, huh?
No, I don't have access to the shared drive.
Okay, so let me see if it's the class that's having issues and not individual people. 69150. It might be okay. Okay, try it again. Refresh. Go ahead and refresh because it's possible that the whole class was not on.
I've got it now. Thank you.
You got it now?
Yeah, I got
You,
mine
Peggy?
too. Yeah.
Okay, great. Walter, you were
Yes.
just sharing your screen, but I was still doing something else. So I'm sorry for that. Can you share your screen again? But this time, right there, you were having like one little email. When you say share, go to your button and share. Go ahead and choose the top left, which basically is the application windows. Like don't get me an individual window. Go say share and then choose the desktop one, the top choice on the left before you press the second share. Okay?
Start all over here. Oh, geez.
By the way, this is the hardest part of the class. And everyone who's been in the class before knows, A, because you're new, B, because you're still worried about sharing and that you're stopping anywhere. And don't worry, that's what this first part is. And second of all, is because we're setting everything up. After that, believe it or not, Photoshop inside of it, it's much easier than this. So don't worry, don't feel bad that I'm helping people individually. This is what this is all about. Hi, Claudia. Thanks for joining us. How are you? Can you hear me? Claudia? Nope. Not sure you can hear me because no reaction. Hello, can you hear me, Claudia? I'll try you again in a minute. I don't think Claudia can hear me. All right, Walter, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, I'm having a rough time here.
That's time. I'll walk you through it. Go to the share button, which
Okay.
is the
Somewhere
green
I-
one. Okay, so the green button, do you find that one? Just you need
Oh,
to
yeah, I've got it.
speak. Okay, now on that one, make sure to choose the top like window. Last time you had shared just a little email, so make sure to choose the top that says application window, like the whole screen is what I want to see.
Okay.
And then press the share button. Hey, Claudia, can you hear me now?
I don't see the
Perfect.
window.
Perfect. You're
Okay.
good. This is what I needed. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure where you have your Safari again, so we're going to search for it one more time. Go over here to the top right to that little search
Oh, I see.
icon and write Safari again. Yeah. And then you can just hit your return key. Okay. So go into your history because I have a feel you were just there, right? So
Yes.
you probably don't need to get into everything. I can go over here to the word history, right?
Oh,
Oh,
way over
over
there.
there. Yeah, and go to Santa Barbara City College. Yeah. Okay, great. But again, it's not going there. It's like, I don't know. I had left you here trying to get you in
Yeah,
there.
that's where I left off. I don't know why it's taken so long.
I'm seeing, okay, I am seeing over here that it says something other than just what it needs to say. So let me delete that. just hit your delete key or, yeah, and write, just go sbcc.edu. Let's make it simple. Let's go to the old sbcc.edu and hit return now. Yeah. Let's see if it goes now, because if this one doesn't go, yeah, this is going. Okay, now click on way over to the far right over here. That's your My SPCC access, okay? So click on that button right there. And you might have
Which
Zoom in the
one?
way. Way up here. Far right. Yeah, it's sometimes Zoom is in the way. Yeah, this one. No,
Nope,
click
that's
away.
it.
No, now you have to click on that X to get rid of that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. See this little X that appeared over there? Click on that to get rid of it. It's hard because this is
Which
where you Zoom is in your
side?
way. Yeah,
Yeah, the Zoom is in my way.
Zoom is in the way. So grab it from somewhere black. We can't see your Zoom, but grab it from there and move it out of the way. Yeah. Yeah, Zoom appears kind of over here and hides all these buttons, which is a problem.
Oh, I get you now. That X.
That X, yeah, and now go to this button right to the left. Yeah, that's your My SPCC. Okay, great. And I don't know why you're not getting into My SPCC.
I don't know. It's just,
I
see,
really don't know, which is driving me crazy. Okay,
you do.
yeah, this is bizarre because I can't get you into your Google Drive if you can't get into My SPCC. Something's a problem there. Okay, let's try it one more time. Click on this tab. Let's see if I can get you through the old pipeline. Let's see if there's access this way. Is there any other way in here that we can get in? No, I'm drawing a blank.
You can see my screen and everything?
Yeah, but you're not
Oh,
going
okay.
into My SPCC, so I don't know what to tell you to do because your My SPCC seems to not be working. Go ahead and go ahead and write in there where I just wrote, go ahead and write Google Drive. And I'll see if I
Google
can get you to sign in that way. Google Drive. And now hit return. I'm gonna have you sign in outside of the school. Okay. Click down here. Or just go to sign in, actually. This is so weird. Something's wrong with your computer because you should be showing. Okay, so put in your pipeline email address here. Do you know your username? Sorry, guys, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
It's
everybody.
probably, no, it's all right. It's I don't know why my SPCC is not going in. That seems like a tech support issue.
Yeah,
It's probably W Hildebrand or something like
I
that.
think it's WL.
WL, okay.
Oh,
WL Hildebrand at pipeline.sbcc.edu. At pipeline.sbcc.edu. .sbcc. .sbcc. Yep. .edu. In case you need to write it again, why don't you select all that and copy it because we might
Oh,
need to. It's okay. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. You're fine. Don't worry. Okay, so go in. Now only WL Hilbrand. Just your username now. I'm just kind of going roundabout. I'm going the round way, the roundabout way to the class.
hit return after that.
Yeah, no, go down and enter your password in there. Pipeline password. Hi again, Ed. We're accessing the class files and they've hidden the
Okay.
Google Drive a little bit more than before. So I'm showing people how to access it through the dashboard, the My SPCC.
Not a problem. I was having a lot of
But-
problems with my computer, so
Yeah, no, it's
I
just that
just got
Walter's
on.
having an issue because the dashboard isn't working for him. So, okay, here, save the password so you don't have to do that again. Okay, let me see, it let you in. All right, so now go to shared drives. and Photoshop shared drive. Yay! So we
Okay.
found the roundabout way. And so double click on that, Photoshop shared drive. Double click to open up. Okay. And now there's going to be a folder at the top right there. Go ahead and do a right click to, don't open it, don't double click, just right click and download. Or go to this little arrow and that's a download arrow. If right click isn't
Oh,
working,
I
go
see.
over to that one. Right. Yeah, just click on that and it's downloading. Okay, good. So everyone, that was the roundabout way. And right now I'm going to stop your share there because you got it. Angelina, your hand was up before.
Oh, I was just gonna say it appeared that I was logged in, but I wasn't on the Google
Oh.
Drive. So I was just gonna let everybody know that. Once I did that, then I saw your shared drive.
Okay, great. Anyone else who didn't get there? Okay, so now give me a yes if you got the class files. Give me a no if they're still the elusive monsters. Hey, Cloudy, how are you? Were you able to got? Yeah, you got me a yes there. You got him. Okay, Gabby, you already have them. Peggy, Rebecca, and Walter, you're downloading them. Okay.
Yes.
Ed, do you want a hand in how to get there, or can you make your way there? It's a little bit
Well,
hidden.
I evidently have hacked into the City College account because when I log in, I'm actually going to their account management page. I can change I don't know what's going on, but I'm in the wrong place.
Guys, just so you know, Ed for eons has been in like inside of creating like software tech stuff, but that's been his thing. And somehow he's getting behind the scenes where the rest of us are not.
No, I'm
All right.
serious. You want me to register your telephone? I can put that in. I am in admin.
All right, go ahead
Logging
and
in directly.
listen, give me your share your screen and I'll tell you how to get to the place where the rest of us mortals go. I don't know where you are, but let me take you
I
to the
think that
hand.
the user interface on City College is just about the worst program I've ever
You know
seen.
what? Every time they change and they go to a new one, the My SBCC dashboard is supposed to be the easy way. It's been ever since it's been so hard to get people to get to the class files, but they keep promising to make it better and then they make it worse. All right, go ahead and share your screen so I can help you so we can get the files downloaded for
Okay, it'll take
everyone
me a second because I didn't have Zoom on the primary
on
machine.
that one. Okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay, great. All right, so I've got my other computer going. Okay, so I'm going to clear your answers now. And Ed, when you're ready, let me know. Meanwhile, finally, let's get those class files uploaded onto Bridge. Let me begin to explain what Bridge is all about. So one thing that I was busy with these other slightly different issues every time we have a new issue is setting up. But I forgot to ask you guys, the new people who haven't been in my class before, have you used Bridge before? I'm expecting most of you will say no. So that's basically Walter, Gabby, and Angelina. Have you used Bridge before? Nope, nope, and nope on Walter either. Okay. The rest of you guys have because you've been in others of my classes. So how about, and I'm going to clear your feedback, have you used Photoshop before? And give me a yay or a nay, Walter, Gabby, and Angelina. Okay. All right, cool. So just out of curiosity, Gabby, since you have used it before, at what level, what did you do with it? What did you not do with it? What's your...
I just used it for work for some like asset editing for some email content, but
Okay.
I used it very poorly.
Some bit, well, poorly is a how do you call it? It's a the word isn't here.
Relative.
Relative.
It's relative. Thank you. Did you notice how people chimed in? People who know me every now and then. English is my second language. You might not notice I don't have much of an accent, but every now and then I get stuck on a word and it just won't come out. And then people seem to know what I'm trying to say. And thank you, everyone else, for helping me out. All All right, so everyone else who's here has been in one, two, a few of my Photoshop classes, and then there's some people who have been in none of them. So don't worry, everyone's going to get something out of this. Some people who have been here before will pop in and out while I'm doing the first, the more basic stuff. But there's a lot of new stuff going on in Photoshop. There's a lot of AI happening, which at first it was like, oh, AI. And then it's like, oh, they're making some cool things happen. Not so much, I'm not saying AI that they invent images for you. I'm not into that, even though it does it. But there's a lot of tools that use artificial intelligence now that are making things that we used to take 10 hours to do, literally a click of a button. And some of them are really like, why in the world are you bothering with this one? And others are amazing and incredible. So even for those of you who have done Photoshop before, I'm beginning to delve deeper into all of those and showing them here and there to see when they are really useful. I want to bring them up. And those are things that I haven't covered before. Plus, I always use different images and I cover things in different ways. So that's why people keep coming back to keep like getting better at what they do know. But those of you who know nothing, don't feel intimidated. It's okay. This is also a good place to be to start from zero. You just need to ask your questions and not worry that I might be supporting you seemingly more. That's the idea, right? I'm holding you up a little bit more until everyone who is here was there at some point. Everyone who is here who was in my classes before at some point had to be held up a lot more. So Walter, Angelina, Gabby, once we get beyond the basics, you will need more support, and that is okay. It's not like, oh, she's always asking me to share, so I'm holding the class up. No, no, no. When I ask you to share, everyone is looking at that share and they're also learning from what's happening, okay? And you really need to believe me on that one. So whenever I say share, it's to make the class go faster, because explaining what's not working is, I won't understand it. You show your screen, I see it, I go, that's the button, you turn it off, and we keep going. So the class works faster if you share. Got it? You promise me, especially people who are new, who still don't trust me too much until they see it happening. And then you see that it's true, that it is okay. Sharing is the fast way to go. All right. Thank you for that. Cool. All right. So Bridge is kind of like the three of you guys are Windows people, or at least Angelina and Gabby are Windows people. Remind me, Claudia, are you Windows or PC? Claudia, I think you've been writing in the chat. Claudia, I think I don't remember if you're Windows or PC. The people who are Windows have the Windows Explorer to look for the files that are in their computer. People who are Mac people have the Finder, and people who are Adobe people use Bridge. Now, Bridge is basically a Finder on steroids, a Windows Explorer on steroids, so to say. And the good news is it's the same for people who are on a Mac or on a PC. It's not important what browser you are. We're going to use it right now as a place to see our files. And then it does a lot of neat tricks and things. I'm going to get to show you a little bit of what it does, but it's how we're going to access the photos that we're going to use in Photoshop. Okay. So first thing we need to do is you all downloaded the photos onto your computer, at least almost everyone except for Ed. Let me know. Now what we're going to do, we're going to open Bridge and we're going to go find those photos that we downloaded. And it's going to be the same for everyone except for Angelina, because Angelina, you're on VDI. And on VDI, the photos are already in the Google Drive for you. But you haven't been using VI for a little bit because we've been trying to do all this other sign up, and I want to make sure that it's still live because you need to kind of keep it live and it might have canceled out on you. So go and check on the tab that has VDI and tell me if it's still up and running. If not, I'll help you with that. Everyone else, let's open Bridge, okay? And once you open Bridge, the first thing, let me share my screen. Here we go. We're going to open Bridge, and when it first opens up, it opens up in some neutral place, which is a bit different. If you're on a Mac, it says computer. If you're on a PC, it says my computer or my PC or something like that. I don't know. You PC people tell me. It says something else up there. Can you tell me, PC people, what it's saying?
This PC.
what does it say? I'm sorry.
This PC?
This PC is what it says. Okay. So click on this PC or on the word computer. Walter, did you open Bridge yet?
No, I wanted to tell you, I don't think this computer has Bridge on it. I couldn't find it anywhere. So-
Okay.
But before next class, I'll make sure it's on here.
All right. If you have a, yeah, and I'll let you do it for next class instead of now, but do you have a subscription to the Creative Cloud or to just the photography portion of it? Do you know?
I don't have a subscription, I don't think, for anything.
And so how do you have Photoshop in your computer?
I have it on my little laptop, but not on this computer. This is my wife's computer I was using.
Okay, but you need Photoshop in the computer that you're going to be working with. So do
Okay.
you have Photoshop in that one? Because if
No,
you have it on your laptop, why aren't we using your laptop then for the class?
okay. I thought this had it on this computer, but it doesn't. I couldn't find it anywhere.
All right, so let's do this. I'll continue with the class and then during break, I'll take a time to just help you with trying to figure out where your Photoshop and your bridge is, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so everyone else, so just watch and absorb, okay? Until we can get there. So what you want to do is you want to get into your downloads folder, and you might not see the word downloads there because I put it in there myself. So let's head over. In the case of the PC people, you go over here into, I believe it says, I'll have to have one of you guys share. I don't want to said, but you might already be at the place where you see the word downloads. But for Macintosh hard drive, I'm going to double click. And then I get to go into users, double click on users, and I'm going to get into the folder that has my name. So it's like 2 or 3 steps. And then after that, it's just one click forever. We just need to find our computer that has our class files, which in this case is the downloads folder. Okay. So once I get to the downloads folder and I double click, then I have access to everything that I've downloaded. In my case, I'm seeing the folder right here, V2 Spring 2025 Photoshop class files. I'm going to walk through this again, okay? Because I know that I've left half of you behind, but I'm showing you the whole process. Now, I don't want to open this one yet. This is pay attention before you try to get to where I am. I'm going to drag it out to this black area. So watch, I'm going to do that, put it there. And now I don't need to do that anymore from the future. All I need to do is click in here and it goes straight to the class files. So from now on, you don't need to go do everything I just did. You forget everything, you just click in there and here we are in the class files. Okay, I'm going to walk you through that again. Computer for Mac people, double click on Macintosh hard drive, double click on users, and then your name. In this case, I'm under SPCC teacher, double click, and then the downloads folder. Now for the future, to make this easier, I actually drag the downloads folder out here too, and that way I go straight to the downloads folder, but for some reason they don't have that as an original setup. And then here, look for the downloads that starts with V2 and then drag it out here. All right, I want someone who's on a PC to share their screen so I can walk you through the steps on a PC. And then VDI, give me a second there, Angelina. First of all, Gabby, did you find it?
Yeah, I've dragged it over.
All right. Angelina, go ahead and share your screen. I'll show you where yours is.
What I was trying to explain to you earlier is this is my laptop, and then I have a whole other setup.
Oh, not a second
Has
monitor, a second
monitor.
computer.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. Like I was trying to get off my laptop and just do it on the computer, but you couldn't hear me. So
No, I couldn't.
I can't
So
hear anything.
all right. So the computer that has Photoshop is not on Zoom right now. So you can't share. Okay. And when you tried to connect to both, you couldn't? Is that the problem?
I got the files. I mean, I
Well,
got
but
your
if you don't
files.
have the files, it doesn't, I mean, if you have files without Photoshop, it's no good. You have to be inside of VDI because you need Photoshop.
Okay, well,
So whichever computer has
see if
Photoshop
it's-
is the one that needs to be on Zoom.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm on two computers to see how I'm showing up twice. Gabby is showing up twice. Claudia's showing up twice. Like a lot of people are showing up twice. Oh, by the way, hi Maricel. I saw you. I was sharing before when I saw you. You dropped in. Thanks for coming. Just so you know, Maricel, we have some new class files for this one. So do you remember how to get to the class files to download the new ones? Oh, you're traveling right now. Okay, that's fine. Later you can watch the recording to catch up. But there's new class files from the Friday one. Okay. All right. Is this the one that had you were on? Okay. So
Is this what you're talking about?
yeah, the VDI. First of all, close this tab here. Click on that tab so that it closes because we don't need that. Open. No, not that one. Oh, you left VDI. You left VDI. Sorry, I was saying this one with the pink, and for some reason the pink is stubborn, and then you closed VDI.
Okay, I'll go reload it and
No,
stuff
hold on,
here.
hold on. No, no, please don't. It's much faster if I help you. Plus, since you were already connected, it's faster. Just go really make a new tab. Go ahead over here and make a new tab.
Yeah.
And then go over here to, yeah. And since you were just in there, it'll connect really quickly. Go there. It's much faster when I can walk you through. Okay, put in your password. Next, yeah. Okay. Enter your pin.
I don't know what the pin is. I have no idea. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Come on.
Just type it in. Oh, but it doesn't let you once you choose it. So just wait a long stretch. And then password. Again, and then go to your phone. Guys, when you have to use VDI, but soon everyone, all students are going to be made to do this two-factor. They wanted it last year, but it didn't work out yet. But soon everyone will have to do this. But right now, go ahead and say update because maybe it's different because you got in. Maybe you had a different one before. Okay, student desktop. Okay, cool. It's much easier for me to walk you through it than to have you figure out since you've never done it before yet. Okay, so say okay to that. Okay, and because you already had Bridge open and Photoshop open, so go here to Bridge. Go down here to Bridge. Yeah. Oh, it won't let you until you leave this thing. I think there's an X over here or something. It's trying to teach you something. You need to say okay or something before it lets you close. Why is it not letting you? Go ahead. Oh, that is over here. There's the X. Close that window over there on the far right. Yeah, good. Phew. Okay. It's just that it's the first time there and Photoshop wants to show you. Okay. Go ahead and this is Bridge. Go ahead and click on this little thing right there so it fills your screen right there. Okay, good. All right. So because you are on VDI, you need to just use Google Drive. So go over here to Google Drive. And the problem is, yeah, I hope not. The problem is that Google Drive isn't showing up because you canceled out. So you need to sign into it again, which I was hoping to avoid. But anyway, go to this little guy right there at the bottom. Yeah, that teensy little arrow. Click on Google Drive. Oh, that was DVD Drive. That's why it didn't find it. That wasn't Google Drive. Okay, go over here to this PC. and try Google Drive again. Okay, good.
good.
So go to shared drives. Hello.
Hello.
So you are registered in the class, right? Yeah, you had the,
I got the files on the other computer
okay,
that I had open.
but
But
that's not,
I
but you don't have Photoshop on the other computer, so it's useless. You need to have Photoshop. So go over to this little
I understand that, but I'm just explaining to you where I'm at.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So let's go to this little arrow right there. We need to get Google Drive to reset because when you canceled out, it needs to be reset. So, okay, so Google Drive is showing up. Okay, so go ahead and type in here Google Drive. Okay, Google Drive. No, Google, yeah, there we go. Drive. Perfect. So Google Drive is the only thing you need to sign into each time. Oh, but that's not the sign in. This is the drive, which isn't what we want. But go ahead and click on shared drives to see if this time it's popping in, which it is. Double click to see if it opens up. See,
Register.
again, it's not, you have to, okay. Sorry, I'm going, let me clear all my drawings. Okay. So let's do this. Can you, just to do it a little bit faster, do you see a request for remote control? I want to explain to you guys that I will never ask to do things for you unless if it's pertinent to the class. But in this case, since this has nothing to do with the class, it's more like, yeah, so Photoshop needs to be signed into. I'm gonna let you go out there for a second. I'm gonna reset you up with Google Drive because you when you canceled out, it doesn't know. So that's, but I didn't want it to take me to Google Drive. I need to re-sign it, and this isn't what I want. My goodness. Okay. Why am I have never had these many issues with the beginning. I am so sorry. I know that some of you guys who've been here at the first class think that that's not so, but it really is. Like today, we've had much more than normal. I need the Google Drive app. There, that's what I needed, the app. No, I don't need this. Okay. Okay, this is bizarre. I really don't know why it's not, I think we just need to sign out and sign in again. You know, when at one point I said, be careful, don't sign out of this tab. It's because once you're signed in, it assumes that you are set. And when you sign out, it's like you pull the plug or something. And so the computer doesn't know now what to do. The shared drives are there, but it's not showing you the stuff that's inside. So I am gonna have to, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stop your share.
I can just watch and I can follow up with
Yeah,
text.
so no, what I was gonna say
Okay.
is do this. Close, I turned off your share. So let's do this. Close your browser, the one that you're using, right? Actually, not even, actually, share again. I want to show you how to disconnect from VDI correctly because we reconnected. Share your screen one more time. I'll have you completely back out the right way, so to say, really disconnect so that the computer has no memory of you, and then it'll here, let me just request remote control one more time. Okay, so I'm going to close out of these guys. I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to exit and watch for the end of class how you need to do this. You need to go down to this for some reason the start. Can you click on the start button? It's not responding to me. That button down there. Yeah, okay. Now power off. Then you go to power. It's like you shut down this internal computer. And then you close out. And then you need to log out of VDI. Log out. So now we've logged out completely. And hopefully the Google Drive then begins from scratch. And I know we had just done this, but now you connect again and you wait until it invites you to sign into Google Drive. Remember when you did it before? Here, I'm going back into sign in. So now I'm kind of re-signing you, and this is the part that you had done. But now we have a clean access to Google Drive. The only thing about Google Drive is that it, oh, you're still logging off from the previous session. So, I have a whole video about VDI that you can check out and figure out later so that you're ready for Wednesday with it and you can practice getting
Yeah,
in.
that's fine.
But the most
Thank
important
you.
thing, hold on, the most important thing is that the Google Drive is what causes problems, which is what's giving us problems right now. So you'll see it down here at the bottom right of your screen when it appears in that little tiny arrow that I was showing you before. And that's the part that you need to sign out of each time you leave and sign in each time you come in. And what happened before is that since it got closed, it's like kind of pulling the plug, it didn't get signed out correctly. And so now Google Drive's like being really, how do you call it? Resistant, reluctant. Anyway, I'm gonna, okay, so this is what I meant. This guy right there. Hold on. This little arrow right there, that little arrow, that's where Google Drive hides when it's up and running, when it's working. But what you need to do every time you sign in is wait for it to appear like last time that you sign in. And then before you leave, you need to sign out. That way it's a new connection each time, okay? I'm gonna let you do it and let you watch the videos, and then I'm going to help you with that. Guys, I'm sorry that this has taken this long, but we're here. We're here. We got the class file. So does everyone else have class files per chance? At this point, it would be Rebecca, Peggy. Ed, did you get to download them yet?
Got it all straightened out, and
Great.
SBC system will never work again.
Well, never, you messed up SBCC. All right, Claudia, do you have the class files?
Yeah, I
You
do.
got them, Patricia, Gabby, Maricel's traveling. Okay, yes, we're going. All right. Adobe, Bridge, showing Bridge. Okay, so now all you need to do from now on is when you open Bridge, is click over here. These are the class files. Since both of the people who have never used Photoshop right now still don't have it up and running, I'm going to go ahead and start just with Photoshop, and we'll work on backtracking with you guys a little bit later, okay? In fact, the class finishes pretty late, and maybe what we can do is if you guys are still have some brain cells working, I can finish 15 minutes early and I can just focus on trying to help you with that setup, okay? Both Walter and Angelina, okay? All right. So normally we're gonna do a break somewhere, since this is a really long class, we're gonna do 2 short breaks instead of one in the middle. Well, not so short, but 2 breaks instead of one in the middle. And the first one is about now. I was gonna say, since we haven't really gotten going, and some of you started an hour later, but I also don't want to do so much that everyone's brain cells are fried. I'm gonna put it to a democratic vote here. Do y'all want to continue right now and then we take one longer break, or do you want to do the break that comes now and the break that comes in another hour and a half, 2 short breaks? If you want to have a break right now and another one later, give me a yes. If you just want one longer break later, give me a no. So I'll let you guys vote. Yes for 2 short breaks, That's my alarm telling me to give you guys a break. Or no for one long break. All right, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the people who are here. So sorry, Walter, you have been outvoted.
Okay,
We're gonna go with one long break later on. Oh, Rebecca, you didn't vote. Hold on. Are you gonna equal it? No. Oh, come now. There's no neutrality here. There's vote and make a choice.
My
Even
brain
if-
isn't tired yet, you know?
Your brain isn't tired yet, and actually, even if you vote, it'll still be 4-3 if you vote one way or the other. So we're gonna continue. In
Sorry,
fact,
Walter.
that's okay.
yeah. All right. All right. So back to sharing bridge. Here we go. All right. So, bridge is basically as if I had just gone through the Finder window and found the folder that has my files. It's not a different place. I didn't load the files into some weird app or anything. It's just I can go in here and look at the files on any part of them. I can go to my documents and see the computers there, just like the way you work on any Windows Explorer or Finder, only it's made by Adobe, specific for Adobe, and it does a lot more. One of the things that you want to know, I want you to know, is that even though the files are tiny here, say that I want to decide which of these two balloons I want to show, and I'm not sure, and they're kind of tiny. If I select it and hit the space bar, then you kind of see a very quick big version of it, and then hit the space bar for it to go down, or hit the space bar and then use your arrows to go to the next one to the right, and then to the next one, and then to the next one. So you can kind of see them all. When you're done, you hit the space bar again. And that's kind of a quick way to see them in big. It's a bit of a hack. It's not like it has anything to do. We're not opening the image when we do that. We're not opening it in Photoshop. That's really more of a quick way to see it, to make sure it's the one I want. Or if it's dark in here and you're not sure what it's showing, you do that and you go, oh, that's that photo. Okay. And you hit the space bar again, kind of thing. But most importantly, this is going to have a lot of information for us on the right side. In the metadata over here, we're going to be understanding what all these, you can grab this from the middle and make it a little bit bigger. Make sure you have enough space to see all this information. And this metadata over here is the stuff in the file properties that we're going to be using, and this little box to see if this is the right image for us to use for whatever reason we need it to do. And we're going to talk about dimensions in inches, dimensions in pixels, file size, all of that, resolution, bit depth, all of this will make more sense by the time our class is over. But I need to get you guys started on reading a handout. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys read it for next week, right? So it's not like you need it right now. But once you get to the class files, I'm going to take you for a second back to the class files. Or have I even gotten you to the class? Yeah, I got you to the class files. So if you have your browser handy, again, you don't need to come here yet, but I just brought you here and told you to download these files, and I never showed you that there's a lot more. And if you're seeing it in this mode here, which is Padlet pictures mode, then you're seeing little tiny previews of them. If you click on this little icon that you have somewhere to the right, then you see it in file name mode. Okay. But there's, I'm going to go ahead and go back into this mode because I want to show you two important things here. The first one is the handout that I will email to you, because I have found that if I don't email it, people don't read it. But this is the one that I need you guys to read. For those who've never read it, the new pixels, I'm going to double click on it, new pixels, image size and image resolution in Photoshop. Okay. So that's the file that I need you guys to read. And you have until next week to do that. Okay. So it's not like you need to be reading it for Wednesday, but I want you to start reading it for Wednesday. So I'm going to put it here in the chat. Guys, copy it down. Read a handout called New Pixels Image Size and Image Resolution Photoshop, which my intention is to email you anyway, but it's also for you to begin to see the stuff that we have here. And again, those of you who've already read that one, there's a bunch of other stuff that I want you to read that you can start reading. I'm going to go back so you see it in both modes, in file name modes. You have some others here that those of you who feel like reading more, how to resize images for email and web. How to, wait, they're next to each other. Image resolution and print quality, okay? Input and output file workflow. So these are all things that are good for you to start reading. But the one that I request that you read as homework to make sure you have information that I need you to have under your belt is this one, all right? And at the end of class, when I am done, I'm going to put this document here is going to have the links to the class recording. I'm recording this class and I'm going to have a link in here that's going to let you see the whole recording. And I'm going to have an AI summary over here. So quite a few of you guys who haven't been in my class very well, we never used the AI summary before. It's kind of new. Now there's nothing here yet because this is empty, but let me just show you. This is the handouts for the class that's finishing, that I've been teaching every Friday, and it finishes this Friday. It's over. But these are the links to the class recordings. And then over here, just to show you what these summaries are like, when you click on this one and you open it up, these are, Zoom is doing this AI automatic thing where it's listening to my whole class and it's giving me, it's summarizing the points. And it's not a handout for you to learn from, but it gives you an idea of what I covered that class. And especially if you need to catch up on something, instead of sitting through the whole 5-hour class, you can go, oh, so at first she talked about that. Oh, here's when she went into that feature. So it basically is like, Deanna guided the team, you guys are the team, through the process of using this and that and that and that. Deanna addressed these issues and Deanna, whatever. So it's kind of the way that they write it. But if you're looking for, oh, here's where she talked about smart objects. Okay, let me see what smart objects she mentioned that. Okay, great. Then you can tell that in the summary of like 9 points that it makes, it's somewhere in the middle, right? So then you know that you need to go and review and start viewing from the middle. Watch the recording because that's where I talked about smart objects. Does that make sense? So it helps you see what was covered. It's AI. Sometimes it doesn't get things very straight or right, but for the most part, it's enough to give you an idea of what happened during the class and to know where to go if you want to review something. The Zoom link itself takes you to the class recording. And the class recording, as you can see, is going to be a 5-hour recording. Then you can go all the way up to the middle and go, oh, okay, so that's about where she talked about this or that thing there, or this thing over here, right? And so you can scroll your way in and out. Now that hopefully is helpful. My goal, my request, since the classes exist as a recording, is that you please watch the recordings to catch up, okay? So I need you to, as I said, if the plumber arrives or if like Maricel right now is traveling, when you get back, catch up on the stuff that you missed so that when you start the next class, you're up to speed. That doesn't mean that I won't explain. Like if you saw something on a recording and the next day you didn't understand it, you can ask me, right? But I don't want you to be 10 steps behind. I want you to be just kind of with the class because you have time, especially if you didn't have time to watch the whole thing between Monday and Wednesday, then at least watch them between Wednesday and Monday again. All right. So so now that I said all of that, let's go ahead and open a relatively boring image, but it's this one called colors.jpg. And there's a JPEG here, there's a DNG, there's an NEF, there's a lot of different extensions. And we're going to talk more about what these mean and what they are. But right now, if you double click on this, since we're inside of a Photoshop app, Bridge app, if you have a JPEG, computers never know how to open them. But inside of Bridge, the computer knows exactly how to open JPEG, and that's with Photoshop. So just double clicking on it is all you're going to need to do. And let me do that now. And Photoshop gets kicked open by Bridge. And so Photoshop is beginning to open up. And since my Photoshop window wasn't being shared, you're not seeing that. So let me actually share that window now. And here we go. So hopefully Photoshop opened up for everyone. And this is it. This is Photoshop. And I went from Bridge, where I double clicked, to Photoshop. And one thing I want you to notice is that I'm going from Bridge to Photoshop, from Bridge to Photoshop really quickly. And I'm just doing it without moving anything around. And that's truly important to learn how to use your dock for people who are, let me share my entire screen. For people who are on a PC, you have down here the taskbar. For the Mac, it's the dock. But either way, like over here, I have the icon for Bridge and here for Photoshop, and these programs are overlapping each other. And all I do is I go Bridge, Photoshop, Bridge, Photoshop. The last thing I want you guys doing is dragging one out of the way and dragging another out of the way. People start sharing their screens and then they're missing the tools. You should always be seeing the entire window, all the edges of the program. And if you overlap them, then they take like space, and then you just kind of flip back and forth. Because whenever I want you to use these tools down there, you're like, I don't see them. Why? Because you did that, right? But if you have them there, then the tools down there that we'll use a lot are going to be available to you. So you just need to have your programs always in the range of vision without moving them around, because we're going to be going back and forth a lot. All right, so back to Photoshop. And then on the PC, it's the same. You'll just see the letters BR and PS without the cute little icon, but it's the same thing. Okay, I'm going to reshare so that you don't need to see everything all the time. There we go, back to Photoshop. All right, so over here on the left side, and this is more for the people who are here for the first time, this is our main set of tools that we're going to be choosing. And since I know that you don't have Photoshop right now, I'll let you practice with that later, but see how it goes a little bit darker when I choose one or the next or the next or the next. But each time I choose one up here, there's a control panel that changes according to what tool I use. So when I click on this one, that one has changed. When I click on this one, that one has changed. You see that? So this is the main place to get our tools first, and then we go over here to modify that tool. So for example, if you choose a brush, then you go over here to tell it what size brush, how thick, how soft, how big, how feathered, how much ink, what color, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's the main set of tools. Now, your toolbar probably looks different than mine. If this is the first time you open Photoshop, we need to go over to the far right, top right, and choose, oh, I need to do this because I'm on a Mac. I need to move my computer over a little bit so that you can see it. I need you to choose, we can be in a different workspace. We can be in Essentials, which is the one that it tends to come in. I believe it starts with Core Tools now. I'm not sure. There's a thing called Core Tools. That's a new one for 2025. We're going to head down to the photography version. So when you change these guys here, notice that your panels change a lot. It's a whole different set of panels as needed if I'm going to be painting than if I'm going to be making a website, right? Then if I'm going to be modifying photos. So what we're going to be starting with is with this version, modifying photos. Okay. So is everyone able to set themselves up? I'm going to reset it because when you first choose the modifying photos version, the adjustments panel is in the middle. That's pretty big, and the layers is down here. So notice that I can grab these panels from the middle and modify them and put my mouse over these lines so that they're make them bigger or smaller. I need to wait until I get the double-headed arrow and move it down, put a double-headed arrow over here and make it bigger or smaller. I can do that to this little thin one here. I put my mouse here and I made it bigger or smaller. So you can modify things to your life, to your happiness, but I want the layers panel to be pretty big. So I want you guys to bring this one down or up, which we can do it that way, so that you see more space here under the layers panel. That's the main one we're gonna use at the beginning. And again, that was done modifying up here the different tools. And I'm going to move this back over here so I have less to share, but that panel never shares itself otherwise. Now I got you out of the way. All right. Is everyone with me? You all got your photography workspace set up? If you can't find it, didn't get it, have any questions with that, let me know. Is you guys over here so I can see better. All right. Now, when we have an image at the beginning, when we first open a JPEG, it has no layers. And I told the layers panel is so important. Well, there's no layers. It's flat. It's whatever the photograph captured. So there's no layers there. But the beauty of Photoshop is that we can make layers, A, to add things if you like compositing images, or B, to modify and change things if all you want to do is make the photograph just be more beautiful, right? So you can make a sunset that looked okay, look astounding. You can make that portrait that was beautiful, except for someone was walking behind you and you can see half of their arm sticking behind the head of someone. Well, you can take that little arm that's sticking out behind the portrait that you didn't capture, you didn't notice when they walked by, and just get rid of that errant hand or that trash can that's in the background. So you don't necessarily need to be making a fantasy image with a cow flying over the moon to want to use composites and layers. You might just want to be eliminating things that aren't perfect, but mostly you can enhance that. And whenever Ed wants to share some of his images, he's a photographer who goes and takes pictures, and then he does with a whole variety of different tools. He modifies them, and he has some great landscape photography. That definitely looks very different than when he first got it out of the camera, right? Because you can enhance things to make them look much better, and that's the post-processing features that we're going to be learning. But first of all,
Thank you, Diane.
you're welcome. Just to call out to the fact that every time you share a photo, it's amazing. And by the way, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have things to learn, but he's also, that's the whole point. You keep playing around with this, you become addicted, and it's never ending what you can do with a photo. All right. So this is a flat image that has nothing but a bunch of colors. And the first thing we're going to do is learn to adjust or modify an image based on colors, and to do it in a way that's not permanent. So this image, if I were to now permanently change the pink to green and the yellow to blue, then I'll never be able to get it back to its original colors. And you want to try to avoid ever changing your original image because it's the one that has the highest quality, the highest everything. So what we're going to do an adjustment as a separate layer so that it remains as a non-destructive modification to this image. So that's the first thing we're going to try to do. We're going to do a non-destructive modification where we're going to change all these colors to something else. So we're going to head down. Remember, I told you that we're going to use these little tools way at the bottom. We're going to go ahead and choose this circle that's in the middle of all these choices, and we're going to click and hold, and we're going to choose, I haven't used this in the whole other Friday. I never used the hue saturation this time, which is something I normally use, but I haven't been using it since December. So we're going to do a hue saturation modification. So when I clicked on that, this hue saturation layer came up. I'm going to be checking on you, Gabby, because I know everyone else who's here who's got Photoshop up and running knows how to do this one. So just give me a little nod if you got this thing popping up. Okay. And then over here on the left side where these property tools popped up, the sliders allow me to move them to the right and to the left, and it's kind of cool. I like this image because it kind of looks like one of those like when I saw this image the first time, have you guys, those neon billboards that kind of flip through like that with colors? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about when I'm doing that? It's kind of weird. Anyway, so here I am flipping the colors around. As you can see, I just mentioned, well, if I make the red purple or the yellow blue, well, we're not doing that. We're flipping all the colors around, right? And that's kind of what's happening. Imagine that you are looking at a bunch of flowers and you put on some pink sunglasses. All the flowers are going to change color, right? Not just one, because it's like you're suddenly seeing everything through a different filter, right? So this is kind of the same. Unless we learn to work more deeply within this tool, you're going to be moving all the colors. It's kind of interesting. I don't know really sure this, but look down here. Let me look at this area here. I don't normally put this in these two guys here. Oh, that's why I don't show this, because it goes away when I try to use that tool. So look at these two lines. The top ones are going to remain the same, but the bottom one is going to be in shifting. So look at the yellow color right here on the top one. And right now the bottom one's showing me yellow. And the yellow looks like yellow. Now watch, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move it over. And what used to be yellow is now showing as blue. Let's see if that's true. The yellow was over here, and yeah, the yellows are turning blue. You seeing that? I don't tend to show this too much, but now and then it's kind of cool, right? So whatever used to be, and now let's double click on this top to bring it back to the middle so we can see. So the reds are kind of over here, right? So now I'm going to move this over again. And I'm going to look at the reds up on the top level are going to be turning into kind of greenish. And let me see. Yep, greenish bluish. Here they are. The reds are turning greenish bluish. Kind of fun, isn't that? Now, to say the truth, it doesn't really matter. I just look at the photograph to see. But if I was curious to whatever the pinks are now, I can look up and go, oh, the pinks were these kind of yellow pinkages before, right? All right. So it's like I'm spinning the wheel and everything is shifting, which is good. Most of the times we don't do that. I mean, most of the times we just want to change either the sky or the color of the hat or, you know, more individual things, not everything that's in an image. Sometimes we do. And especially in graphic design, you might want to turn an image that's all in tones of blue. You might want to shift it all to tones of green or all to tones of yellow. I do teach the digital design techniques class, the Illustrator class, starting in a few weeks. So if you're interested in knowing much more about this, definitely those are the classes to go to. But right now, what if I really did only want to target the yellows or the greens or the blues? It looks like there's only one blue in here. What if that was the choice of what I'm wanting to target? I'm going to move this over a little bit. Then I can head over here to this thing that says master. And I'm going to go, I just want to isolate the reds. I'm going to click on reds. So reds isn't just red, but anything that has red in it. So this purple has a lot of red in it, and that orange has, and that even that yellow has red in it, right? So anything that has some reds is going to be affected. And I'm going to show you how to modify that down there in a minute. But for now, let's just say that we said we're changing the reds. Let's see what happens. If I move to the right, it's quite a bunch of those are changing, right? You see that? Now, some are changing more than others. The red is changing a lot because it is kind of pure red. But the images that have a little bit of red on them, like this orangey-ish yellow, is changing a little bit, but it's still kind of orangey, right? And the purples are still purplish. But the ones that are actually originally red are changing completely. It turned blue because I'm changing the actual red completely, and the others are flipping around just a little bit. Yeah? Is everyone with me? All good? Okay, so now let me show you these tools down here, the same place that I took you before with those two lines. How can we say that we really only want to change the main red and not much the rest of the reds? What if I really want to focus much more on something? So this little kind of gray thing that's in the middle, like let me go back to master. See how there was nothing between these two lines before? Now, when I went to reds, it turns out that there's this little gray kind of capsule or whatever that's in between them. And what this is doing is it's going to allow me to modify what colors, how much of that red range gets affected. So say that I want much more than just the red to be affected. This little guy right here, I can click on it and spread it out. And this guy, I can spread it out. So now I'm getting a huge range of colors to be affected. So now anything that has red, and see how now many more of them turn out to have red? I'm going to double click on this one to go back to 0. Now I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to bring this all the way in. And I'm going to bring this one all the way in. And now I'm telling it I only want this little bit of red to be changed. So now, see how only the stuff in the middle, and maybe I move it over because I think I'm more in the oranges there. So now, see how it's that red band, those two that have the most red that are changing and everything else isn't? You see the difference? So it's like I am spreading out the tolerance, this is called, of how much and what level of red is going to be changed. Now I can move it completely and say, oh no, it's the green that I wanted to change. So there's this one green, or it's a green blue in there with no tolerance. So it's gonna, right now I should be seeing, there it is, my green is shifting around. And see how I went over to the greens, even though I didn't change the name? So now it's that green is being changed because I gave it so little leeway. Or I want kind of everything that's falling here under the spectrum of green or greenish to change. Or I want much more of it to be changed. Okay, so you get to play around with these colors. Now, this is pretty theoretical because all we're doing is spending some weird colors around. But imagine that this is a sunset and this is a sky that has a lot of different tones of yellows and reds and pinks. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave the reds and pinks as they are, but I want my yellows to be a bit more red. Or it's the other way around. I'm going to want the reds of my sunset to be enhanced, but I want to leave the yellows the way they are. So I can come over here and I can just target the reds in my sunset like that, and then make them become more intense or less intense, or I can saturate them, right? And stuff like that. So you see how it might be in a practical application a bit more useful? Let's go ahead and see if in our handout, in our class files, we have a sunset, which I believe we do have one sunset. Let's go over, or sunset-ish image. I put some clouds that are sunset-ish, which is not much, but it's some clouds. So here we go, the cloud sunset. So I went and clicked on the bridge and I have over here a cloud sunset. Let's go ahead and double click on that. And yeah, what do you think about the colors of this sunset? Opinions? I don't care. None of these photos are mine. There's no like good or bad or make me feel good or bad or anything. Just if you see this photo of the sunset, what do you think?
Washed out.
Bit washed out, okay. What else?
Looks kind of brown.
It's a bit brownish, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it was a stormy day. Maybe the water, we're over a river that's a brown river. Who knows? Maybe this is just right for the moment, or maybe it's a little bit off. I don't know. And that's the thing. When you have your own photos, you know what it's supposed to look like. When it's not your own photo, I mean, this is subjective. 2 of you guys spoke. I'm sure if 5 of us have spoken, you might have a different opinion. Might go, oh, beautiful blue sky, or, oh yeah, that's just like the river back home. It never runs blue. You know, who knows what you would have said. But post-processing is a subjective thing to what you want to do with it. Right now, given that we can do bazillions of things, all I want to do is have us do exactly what we just did. I want us to use the hue saturation color to shift some of that stuff around, and let's see how we feel about it. So I'm going to go down again to the round circle right there and click on that and choose hue saturation. And it certainly doesn't make sense to go like that because, I mean, yeah, you can for a funky image for art, but it's not like that's realistic, nothing, you know? So how about we just target, for example, maybe the blues or maybe the oranges or maybe the reds. I'm going to see if we can make, maybe we can try to make the yellows a bit more pinkish. I don't know. You guys do whatever you feel like doing. That's kind of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to choose the we'll see. Maybe I'm not sure whether the reds or the yellows. Let me head over to the yellows. I think there's a bit of red and a bit of yellow in this brown. And we'll find out. I'm going to leave that the way it is right now. I'm not going to touch it. And I'm going to just kind of move this over to the right or to the left. Now notice then that as I'm moving these yellows, notice that the blue isn't changing much. And the white, there's not much pure white here, but that's about as pure white as it gets. But most of it is tinged with some yellow or another, and so most of it is getting changed, but not too much. So some of you might go, well, I want to go more towards the pink. Some of you might go, I want to move more towards the yellow. I don't know. So but what we can do is we can limit. Sorry, I had my computer was blanking out on me. Okay, so maybe if you want to go a little bit to the pinks, maybe you want to make it a bit more saturated, and then maybe you might go, you know what, I want to limit the spread of this a little bit more. I might want to target that. So right now, if I look at this image, I would say that it's pretty realistic to see clouds of this color. Pretty realistic, not necessarily ideally realistic. How about how realistic it is to see the water this color? No? I'm kind of laughing because as I was about to say no, I can share a picture that I took this summer where the water is bright orange, bright pink, reflected sunlight, even though the sky is looking blue. It's just that it's
Well,
picking up the
water
what-
is just reflecting the clouds, so I mean, it
yeah.
should be a little bit muted over the cloud color, but
It is actually, yeah, says the landscape photographer. This isn't actually not real. But maybe not all the way. The clouds are here, maybe over there. You can have a little bit less. So you can mute it and have different things. This isn't the most logical way to change the colors, but I'm showing you how you can target something with this and modify it and make it. So here I'm saying I want more of it to be changed. And so I'll have a pink everywhere. Or I can go, you know what? I want a little bit less of it to change. Or I don't want my blues to change at all. So I'm bringing it in from the side of the blues and I'm making it over here. And now I'm getting a bit less in this area affected changing. And it could be that there's a darker cloud over here. Anyway, so you can play around a little bit with it, but notice that I'm not affecting the blues too much. Now there was a little bit of yellow in the blues. Maybe I'm going to go over to the blues now. I'm not sure if this is going to be cyans or blues. Maybe it's more cyans than blues. And let me see. There we go. Looks like cyans was right. Okay. So then maybe I want to make the blue become a little bit deeper or less deep. And I'm saturating it or less saturating it. And better for worse, you can like or not like what's happening, but watch what I'm doing right here with the layers. If I notice all of this is happening here in this hue saturation layer, if you look at this little thumbnail, it's the original one. There's an eyeball here. Let's turn the eyeball off. That's how it used to be. This is how it is right now. It's how it used to be. This is how it is right now. Now, I am 100% sure that this is way too pink and way too intense and way too whatever, although some sunsets are just mind-blowing. But my point is that you're just playing around with color and there's bazillions of tools to play around with color. This is just one of them. And whatever we've been doing is completely non-destructive. All I need to do is turn this eyeball off and my image is back to how we started. Okay, so this is a non-destructive modification using an adjustment layer. This is an adjustment layer. So that's the first concept. When you want to turn these, say that we are done, you guys might have changed things into green and purple. I don't care what you chose to do, but let me just close this panel by clicking on this thing right here. I can open it and close it again if I want it again, that little guy. But what if what I wanted to do was make the clouds pink, but I really wanted to affect the, I don't know if it's a lake or river or an ocean, whatever, the water but not the same way. I wanted it to go a little bit pink, but less intensely. Or maybe I want this one to be a bit more purpley or a bit more orangey or something. Everything I just did is a global modification. Yes, I isolated the pinks and the yellows from the blues, but other than that, all the yellows got affected or all the blues got affected, right? So once you have a modification layer in there affecting everything, what you can do, and here's the main thing that you need to consider, is you can mask out some areas that you don't want to be affected, or that you want to be affected differently, or more, or less. So it doesn't have to be a global modification. This was global. Everything got affected. What if I want to say, well, I don't want the water to be affected? So in a very, very abrupt manner or way, let's make a modification on top of this modification. And yes, I could use this mask over here. Some of you guys who know what I'm talking about already know, but I'm going to just do it a bit more roundabout way, just as a teaching moment here. I'm going to select this portion of the image and only this portion of the image. So I'm going to do that. Well, bazillions of ways to do that. Let me just show you the most abrupt and usually not very useful way, but this time it'll be useful because a horizon is a horizon is a horizon. It's a straight line, right? So let's use the rectangle selection tool right there. So for this image, this is probably going to work pretty well. Let's click on that second tool on the left side. And the way this tool works is when you click and drag, you get this little marching arcs line. And then when I click and drag again, I get another one, and I click and drag and get again another one, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to do our best to start clicking and dragging out here, because if I try to exactly match the line, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put my mouse so that the center of this thing is, as much as possible, aligned to that line. And then I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to finish way out here. And hopefully I grabbed kind of what I want. If not, click away again and do it again. And do your best to select ish, because, you know, this is just a general way of showing you how to use these tools. It's not a perfect selection. We have an active area right now, which is surrounded by these marching ants. If you look at them closely, you'll see that they're walking around. Okay, so now what we're going to say is we just want to modify only that area. And yes, it's already been modified by that one, so it's a bit tricky because we're modifying one on top of the other, but never mind. Let's go back down here to the hue saturation area. And let's go for the same thing. We're going to go to another hue saturation. And this time, look what happened here on the right side. Before it was white. Now it's white and black. And what's happened is that I've told the computer is reading that selection area as this is what I want to modify. And what you want to modify stays white. See how this whole thing got modified? The whole thing is white. This is a mask. This is a mask. But right now, that white mask means there's nothing being masked out. Nothing is being protected. Everything went pink. In this case, the white area is that which I selected, and everything that's black is like, I'm not going to affect that area. So that is masked out. And only what's white is going to be affected now. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to my hue little swivel thing here, and I'm going to start moving this one way or the other. And now only that area is being isolated because the rest is being masked out by that black area. And that black area got created, that mask is what it's called, got created based on my selection. I'm not saying that this is realistic either. I'm just showing you how you can modify things independently, or you can choose to modify them separately and basically not globally. And once again, if I turn this eyeball off, I don't see that effect. I see only the bottom one. If I turn both off, I see the original one. But most interestingly, these are adding up to each other. If I turn only this one on, now I'm only modifying the water, but that water is not staying the same color as when I have the middle one in, because they are both modifying each other. Imagine that you just put on some pink sunglasses, and then on top of those, you put on some orange sunglasses. What you're seeing when you take the pink ones off is just orange, right? So they're additive modifications. So you really got three colors here. You got the original, you got the pink, you got the greenish blue, and now you got the deeper blue, right? And that is an example of using a mask to modify only one area or both areas, or not both on top of the other, but only one area. So this sky is being modified only by one mask, which is this one, and the ocean is being modified by two. Not by two masks, by two layers, adjustment layers. How are we doing there? Is everything good? The concepts, the working of it. So right now, these are just trying to get the concepts in of what an adjustment layer is, how it works, and how we can modify them to make them only operate on a certain portion of the image. Give me a yes if it's all working for you. Raise your hands, you have any questions? I know for a lot of you guys, this was all quick review, but it never hurts to. Oh no. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Angelina. Okay, that's great. Take care. By the way, you guys, whenever you want to write to me, something is going on right now in the background. I don't want to divulge, but if you want to write to me, to the whole group to write, you can write to the you can just type a message to the whole class. But if you ever want to tell me something specific to me that you don't want the rest of the class to hear, not about what I'm teaching, but about something personal going on, then you can change it and say, write just to me. And then that's good. Like if you have a headache or something like that, you don't want the world to know, you can just tell it to me. But if not, anything has to do with class, please write to everyone so everyone knows what your questions are. All right. Cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save this file, and we can't save it as a JPEG anymore because it has layers. And so this can't be saved as a JPEG anymore. A JPEG will always only be flat. It will only have only one layer. So this, in order to save it so that I can come back and keep modifying it, is going to have to be saved as a PSD, which is a Photoshop document. So when I try to go save, and even if I try to just say file save or Command S, even that's what I try to do, then it won't let me. It's going to do save as, and it's going to force me into the format for layered files, which is PSD. That's fine. If you want to write down like / adjustment layers or something like that, / mask, because I began to show you a little bit very basic masking, you can do that and save it in the same place. Say okay. And now if I go to Bridge, then I have my original over there, and then I have my modified one appearing right next to it because I changed the name in the back. If I had to change it in the front, then it would be somewhere else, but it's in that same folder. All right. So that's the beginning idea of how we do non-destructive modifications. Let me see. I am going to, looking at the time now. We're halfway through. So let's say that now is the time to call for the brick. Okay. So let's do a 20-minute break. Instead of 10 and 10, we're doing one biggie. Is that good? Time for dinner or whatever else you need to have. We'll be back, let me see, it's 7:29. Let's say it's 7:30. So at 7:50, see you guys in 20? Yep. Okay. at 7:50 p.m. All right. See you guys soon. All right, welcome back. How's it going out there? I'm getting cold. Get the heater. Going for a little bit. Okay, who's back with me? Let's see. My here we go. My Zoom on one of my computers crashed. So on this one, I have my chat starting from 0 again. And I have some of you guys on the other one, but that's okay. I see that most of it is there. All right, so welcome back. Hi, Patricia, Rebecca, Peggy, and Gabby. Everyone's back. Walter and Ed hanging in there. Okay, so I have some people who will be here on Wednesdays, not on Mondays. That's the kind of thing that people who've taken this class before can do because they, they're just catching up, or vice versa, here on Mondays and on Wednesdays. The class wasn't gonna run because I didn't have enough people. So asking some of my oldies but goodies to sign up. I really appreciate that, but it also, there's more leeway there, right? Because I know that there's a lot of this that you guys have practiced, and that hopefully you will be getting new things, but that you can also catch up much quicker. And here we go. Here's Claudia. All right. So I'm moving a couple things around because I want to show you the one thing that I haven't yet done. Oh, Rebecca, you already went there. You know what I'm about to show.
Oh, the Padlet.
Yeah. So basically the work that we just did, there's no way that I know that you did it unless you have a way to kind of turn it in, right? And so what we're going to do, I'm going to show you right now, and I'm basically talking to Gabby, everyone else. It's a little bit of a review only. If you haven't done it for a while, we're going to go post this in Padlet. So first of all, let me share with you. Share again. So we want to post the work that we just did, but this, we don't need that. Hold on. What we're going to post, did I get the wrong? Oh, because I had that other thing open. What we're going to post is a screenshot of this work. So in this case, I want the screenshot of what you did, including the layers, okay? So how this is going to work is we're going to head over. I'm going to put a link in here. And the link that works right now is, if you click on this, it's going to take you to the Padlet, which is this one. And let me tell you a little bit about the Padlet. But before I do that, let me show you that if you go to the class files, you also have in the handouts where you can have the class recording links and whatnot, right here, there's the Padlet. So that way, when you do during the week, when you're doing homework and work and you want to post it, that's where you'll find this link that I'm giving you now, in case you don't remember how to get back to here, okay? I'm also noticing that over here, I need to put the new link. This is the Photoshop V1. Let me put the link to the new one. Okay. Anyway, that's just me updating. Okay. So let me show you a different Padlet for those of you who've never seen my Padlets. So this is the ongoing Photoshop home V1 that we've got going right now. No, this is the 2024 V1. Okay, so here's an example of a Padlet that's already been worked where I have different homeworks that I assign. And then this is people making the work and posting the work and creating. Is that Ed? No, that's Nick. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. You're basically going to be posting, telling me your name and the work and the stuff that you've done. And so our Padlet is this one. So right now it's pretty empty, but it's going to look much better later. And I'm going to be posting what the homework is. But to get here, you need to first do a screenshot. So in this Padlet, there's some reminders I have to do a screenshot if you're on Windows or if you're on Mac OS. So the rest of you guys kind of might remember how to do it, but Gabby, if you don't know how to do a screenshot, then Windows key Shift S is going to copy it into the background of your computer. For Mac people, Shift Command 4 saves it onto the desktop. So let's go to Photoshop. And I'm going to do Shift Command 4 because I'm on a Mac, and that gives me this little cross hairs, and I'm going to click and drag and include these guys and let go. And on a Mac, that turns into a screenshot that goes to my desktop. On a PC, if you do Windows Shift S, it goes into your clipboard. So then we go into the memory. So then we go over here and we go under this little plus sign, and under subject, we put your name. Okay. And then I see Gabby already posted it. Mac people, we can go in and grab that screenshot instead of pasting. And then over here, the more you can write about what you did, the better, especially if it's homework and you have questions or something like that. But it doesn't need to be, it says write something beautiful. It doesn't need to be beautiful, but it can be the details like adjustment layers. And then some people are really good about writing a ton of information. Shelley isn't in the class right now, but she's a really good one, but she will be coming once of the one that one of the times. Not adjust layers, adjustment layers allow for non-destructive modification. You can come back and edit this, right? To work on only portions of the image. We can make a selection and create a mask to adjust to the opposite of global, to make local adjustments. Now, just so you know, the adjustment layers only work on color and tone. So luminosity tones. So tones. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about that, but I'm going to publish this right now. Right? And then sometimes we sit there and I tell you exactly how to get an adjustment layer or whatnot. But right now, if I made a mistake or I want to change or I want to add more stuff to any of this, I can hover over it and see how it says edit. Click on edit, and then you keep making corrections. So over here, for example, I had a typo, but also you can keep adding or tell me more or ask me questions or whatever it is that you want to do with this, and then update. And that's how it works. So I want everyone to please put in their work that they've done. And so, yeah, the most important for me is to not show me only the image, but to show me the work. And if you have things that you have questions about, if it's homework, you can ask me questions and I'll check out. I can add comments and answer and stuff like that. Okay. You guys can also ask someone else, hey, how did you do that? Or what did you, whatever, if you want to, you can talk to each other if you go back and look for stuff. All right. So that's my check-in with you guys. Now, if you ever share your screen because you're in trouble, I'll see the work you're doing. But if you don't share your screen because all is going well, then this is the only way for me to check that the work is happening. All right. So that's the basics of how we're going to modify things inside of Photoshop. But the whole point is that Photoshop has so many different tools to modify things. Let's use a couple of different ones. So first of all, if I head over here to adjustment layers, this is all the existent adjustment layers, right? So there's, oh, I didn't mean to add one. I'm sorry. I was just trying to show them to you. So there's like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 17, there's a whole bunch of them. But all of these deal mainly with either color or luminance stones, exposure and stuff like that. So we're going to explore a few of them, but your homework is to explore at least 3 more. Okay, so right now I'm going to give you the initial homework and then I'm going to keep fluffing it out here. But the initial homework of day 1 is going to be to explore additional adjustment layers. Okay, there's more that we're going to end up doing here, but right now I just wanted you to know that, and let me just pin it to the top. So always the homework's going to be on top. Ooh, green on green background doesn't work too well. Let me give it a different color. Purple for homework? I don't know. Okay. So what I tend to show them to you here, because it used to be that a different way didn't have names, it just had icons, but now there's another way to get to adjustment layers. And over here, remember that I had said I wanted more space for the layers, but I kind of brought it down. Well, this whole thing is all the same adjustment layers. So you could have clicked on this and gone and gotten a hue saturation layer, exactly the same that we did before. Now, I like seeing my layers and I see that as a bit of a useless waste of space to me personally, but there we go. I created another adjustment layer. Now I don't want to do anything with this one. So how do I get rid of it? Well, I can select it and drag it down to this little icon, or I can just select it and then just click on this little trash can right there. And if I do that, it'll ask me. When I delete it, I'll say yes. Had I asked for one and just dragged it out, then it just trashes without asking me. So that's how you get rid of extra ones. Remember, these things are additive. So if perchance you've made a lot of new ones that you're not using, or there's stuff in between, just get rid of them to not have a clogged area of too many things. But let me show you what's new in the adjustment layers area. So these are single adjustments. These are the same ones that I had shown you down here that I've used for years. But now they come with a little triangle here that if I click on it, it collapses the single adjustments. And then there's some new stuff here called presets. If I click on these presets, it turns out that there's ways that I can adjust this before I use my own brain to adjust them. There's some things that are preset. Let me move this up a little bit because I wanted to tell you. First, let's turn off the ones that we made. Let's turn these 2 eyeballs off. We're going to leave them there. But let's see what these presets are. So if I click on this one, it's a preset to turn it into, and it says their portrait or something like that. You can just click on this little icon and turn it into names so that you can see what they are or see little icons. I prefer to see what the names are for these things. So this one's portrait, classic black and white. Notice that if I'm going to move this up a little bit so you can see it better. Notice that what happened here is that I got 2 different adjustment layers inside of a little folder. So what I'm looking at now is pretty different than what we did. We did 2 individual adjustment layers. This is a preset that needs 2 adjustment layers. One is a black and white adjustment layer, one is a curves layer, and they put both of those inside of a little folder here that has its own mask. If I collapse this little folder, then this thing is the adjustment. It's the black and white, but the fact that it's a little folder of adjustments means that it has 2 inside of it. Now I can live with what it gave me, or I can go, I still want to change it. So how do you change adjustment layers like we did before? The adjustments layers all have a mask over here, and over here they have the tools, the properties. So I can click on this little property right there, and the properties for the curves appear. And then, I haven't shown you how to use it yet, but you can decide to do something really weird or different or whatever, or modify it. You click on the black and white one and you can decide that you want different colors. So I'm not teaching you how to use each one right now, but what I'm saying is this is how you modify things. This is how you decide to see only one of the 2 of the layers that they gave you. And then suddenly you come upon something pretty interesting and cool that I wasn't even thinking about. And then you turn them both off, or you turn the whole thing off at once with this one eyeball of the folder. Okay. Now, remember, if this was on and these 2 are on, and then I turn the black and white one off, then suddenly things become a 4th and a 5th different color, right? Now, say I don't want this one anymore. Again, I can just drag it down to the trash. Now, there's so many of these I can click on. Before I click, if I click, I make them happen. Suddenly I have this whole thing there. I'm going to drag it away again. But what if I just hover over them? So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to hover over this one, and it's showing me what it's going to look like. I hover over this one. I hover over that one. I hover over that one. I'm going to click on more. There's a ton. There's photo repair. There's creative. There's landscape. Since this is a landscape, let's open the landscape one. And there's color pop. There's pop. There's warm contrast. There's faded. There's black and white again. Say that I go with one of these. Say that I go with color pop. Click on color pop. Then I look down here and the color pop was just one thing. It was just vibrance. But for some reason, all of these end up always in a little folder, even if they're just one little thing. Okay. We're going to talk a bit more about these masks, but all of these are global. See how the masks are always empty? It's up to you to decide, well, I don't want all of this to work, or I do want this to work, and we'll figure it out. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that because this is new to maybe Photoshop 2024, that they added all these different adjustment layers. I'm going to go with cinematic, split tone, or blue mood, or dark mystery. Anyway, so basically all these is just a combination. Okay, back to viewing all of them. It's just a combination of effects, just like we did here. We put two together and say that we really like that, and we put another one. Let's do one more, for example. I'm going to go click down here and choose vibrance, for example. I'm going to go with vibrance. And vibrance is going to enhance the tones of everything. So everything is even more saturated. So this is a little like in your face vibrance, and the whole thing has gone wacko. But these three put together, if I like it and I want to use it, I can save it here as my own presets. I can create my own presets right there. And then I can use it for another image. Okay. Right now, I just wanted to show you those options. I'm going to get rid of this one, leave it to those two, and have you guys play around with that. Export 2 or 3 more. I didn't mean to get rid of that. Export 2 or 3 more of those single adjustments, and then maybe explore a couple of the presets that come with Photoshop. But now let's assume that this is a preset that we want to make. So let's create our own preset. So if I go over here, it says first add adjustments to your project, which we already did. Then choose the adjustments that you want. So if we want both of these, right? So I'm going to say that I do. So how do I choose 2? I click on the first one, I hold on to the shift key, and then I click on the second one. So now both are selected. Now I don't choose the basic setup because that one isn't part of the preset. The presets would be this, that any other image I come in with is going to have. Now it's going to be very few images that are going to need this mask. Really, how many, or the chances are that I want something divided right there? But we're just testing this out to see how to create our own presets. Sometimes you create presets that are really cool. Say that you took 10 photos of the same landscape, but you created it 5 different ways to modify it, and then you can save it as a preset, and then you try it on the other one where you just moved a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? If you surrounded that cute rock formation or that flower, and yet you already made a preset that you like, then when you open the 3 other photos of that flower, you can apply the same presets that you did the first time. So let's go ahead. So normally it would be with global modifications, not with masks, but let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select these 2. So again, to select 2 out of the blue, you select one, hold on the shift key, select the other one. And then we head over to your presets and click on that little plus sign. Let's call this one test preset, just learning preset. It'll only include the adjustment layers, and we'll say save. So there we go. There's our test preset. Now, if you managed to save a test preset, go ahead and give me a yes if that worked for you. All right. I'm thinking yes, Ed, was that from now? I didn't know if there was a yes from before. Okay, so I've made a couple of got some yeses there. Rebecca, is it working? Any questions?
No,
No, not working or no questions?
no,
Today?
not working. I've
Okay.
got your presets and I've
Mhm.
selected my 3, but it's not, what do I do to make it go up to presets?
Okay, so first of all, you have to maybe you have single adjustments open or something. So close all these so until you get to the bottom one, which is your presets.
I'm
Once you
there.
see that, click on the plus sign. And then call it something and then say save. And then there it'll be.
No,
Okay, share your screen. Let's see, something must be in the way.
um,
See, I'd never shown these presets before, you guys. For those of you who wonder, I've done this before. Well, I'm teaching you presets now that I haven't done before. Okay. Oh, your presets are turned off. Your adjustment layers are turned off. Go ahead and turn them on. The eyeballs are
oh,
off.
okay.
Yeah. Good. Now select all 3, which they are. Now do the plus sign. Yep.
That was it. The
There we go.
eyeballs are off,
Yeah,
so
they
it's that
need
I
to be-
can't see anything.
Yeah, they need to be active layers. So now call it whatever you want to call it. And then over on the far right, you'll have the save. And that should be your preset. Now, here's
you.
something interesting is that, let me share mine again. Is that 2 interesting things about this preset. The first one is that I already had this set up. But if I now click on this again, it added that again. You see what just happened? I clicked on it. All I did was click on it, and suddenly I have the 2 that I did originally, and they came in again, but now it's 4. And see how they keep modifying each other? Just wanted to say, if each time you click, that preset will come in. If I click on that again, that will come in one more time. So now suddenly I have the TIS preset, which has 2 in there, test preset 2 in there, and the original 2. So now I have 6 adjustment layers in there. Just saying, just be aware when you click on any of these presets, they just pop in. So you can hover over them without necessarily using them, and see how they keep adding up to the point that the colors are going crazy. Now I'm going to get rid of the 2. I leave it as a test preset. It stays there. Now, the question is, does this preset live there no matter what image I open, or does this preset live with just this image? Well, let's see. Let's head over to the other thing that we have open, which is colors. And guess what? My test preset is still there. So this lives with my Photoshop now. And now if I want to add this test preset, boom, I just added it to this image, which isn't much of a woohoo, but there you go. The test preset lives with Photoshop, no matter that I have these files, I close them or I open them or whatever. Does that make sense? It just becomes part of what gets saved with your Photoshop. I'm going to get rid of it from here. And this one was the one that was modifying something. I don't remember what we were playing with over there. Get rid of that one again. But so now that becomes something that if you were just using and don't ever want it anymore, you can just get rid of it, right? But if you find some goodies that is, this is the way you like to modify your images all the time, you always like to give them a little bit more contrast, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more of that, you can just have a test preset that's like, for that trip, that's a beginning that I want to set to all my photos, and then I'll keep modifying within that. So so that would be something that wouldn't have really a mask. It would be just generic. You apply a couple of different things, and then to all the photos of the Grand Canyon that you took, you can apply it to all of them and then continue to go, well, this one also needs a bit more of this, a bit more of that. Does that make sense? So anyway, let's head over to Bridge for a second and let's open, I don't know, the second balloon, which right there. I know that one, it's kind of white, so it won't do much to it. Let's open something with a lot of color, whatever. Okay, so this citrus has very little color. Let's open it for a second. I have no idea how the preset that we just created will work on this, but I'm going to hover over it and see. See, I'm not making them come in. I'm just hovering. And it turns out that for this image, if I were to use this preset, I'm getting blues and greens. But again, they're there for me to use or not, or I can use them. I'm going to click on it to use them. And then I can go, you know what? I don't want blues and greens. Let me go ahead and double click on this one and let me shift that around. So I begin to use it, but then I do other stuff with it. Does that make sense, you guys? So anyway, I don't necessarily need that to be happening, but just showing you how you can begin to use things and then keep modifying them for the use of this image now. All right. So for now, I'm going to close the citrus again because that was just to show you applying it onto something else, but I didn't want to do anything else yet with this one anymore. All right. So now can you all do a little screenshot of your test preset? Well, actually, we can put it on. Let's put one of these test presets on for now, just so we see it there. And then do a screenshot with this and that one turned on and that one. So right now I'm going to do a Command Shift 4, and now I've got all my layers, my original layers, my new color, and my test preset. And then I'm going to go over to Padlet, and we're going to post our personal, let's just call them my, because that's what they're called, my preset. My preset. I selected my adjustment layers and saved them as a new my preset. And now they will be available to any or all of my images. You might get to the point where you'll see that it's useless to have too many, because how many of these really apply above board? I think in one job they apply a lot, but it's, unless you have similar lighting all the time in your life, there's going to be a point where that preset won't be useful for anything else other than for the thing that you're, that lighting or that moment in time, or that the day of that shoot and stuff like that. But it can be really helpful if you're modifying multiple images of the same shoot. Okay. All right. Cool. Back to Photoshop. So, cool. There's a bunch of other ways of saving our own stuff. There's libraries that I haven't worked with too much lately. I work with libraries a lot in my digital design techniques class and stuff like that. But here in Photoshop, I don't use with libraries too much. But let me just run for a second through what libraries is, especially if you've never taken one of those classes. Just a quick description of it only, which is that when I go over here, let me clean your answers and make sure, hold on, that everyone has a go. You guys are experts at this and you're good at asking me if something goes awry, but just to make sure that I keep an eye on whether there's anything that isn't working. So the libraries is going to be a place up in the cloud, in the Adobe cloud, where I'm going to put things that I want to use again. So in a way, I could have put some of these presets, but for the most part, I'll use it. So this is an example of school libraries that I've used for things. Maybe I'll put an image that we've created or a logo that I'm going to use again, or a set of colors, right? And then I can open this in Illustrator and apply, like I make this in Illustrator and then I can use it in InDesign, or I make it in InDesign, I can use it in Photoshop or stuff like that. Or I can choose the logo colors and then I can bring them into this one here and so on and so forth. So a library is a place that kind of like bridge, so to say. I put stuff in that I want then to use in another file or another application, or in fact, another element that's similar. So we're going to get much more of a chance to use this in my digital science techniques, but this is a bit of a localized thing because you can't put like adjustment layers in a library, and you wouldn't use them in Illustrator and InDesign or in any other program. You're only going to use it in Photoshop. So this is a place to put something that you want to use repeatedly, but that is only working inside of Photoshop. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and Command S to save that. And let's go back to the original image that we started with today, the colors. All right. So now what we're going to do with this one is we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of selecting. So today I'm showing you more kind of generic stuff that we need to know for Photoshop. I'm respecting the fact that right now Gabby seems very with it, and that everyone else has done this stuff, but Walter and right now Angelina's not here. You guys, if when you try to do this at home, don't be deterred. Come back, okay, on Wednesday, especially when you have Photoshop running. I will give you a hand as we go through. Don't think, oh, well, they've advanced a whole class or something like that. You have time to practice and play around with stuff, and you'll come back on Wednesday, maybe not doing any of what we did today. That's okay. We'll move forward from there, okay? Just letting you know, because I'm kind of keep moving forward with other stuff. All right. So when you have objects that are easy to select, there's a tool down here, this little panel, this little floating thing that appears, does a pretty good job of selecting. If you have, say, a bird flying in the sky, it'll select the bird. But there's no real subject over here, to say the truth. So if I click on select subject, I don't know, what's it gonna do? Nope, couldn't find a subject to select. There might not be a prominent object in this image, all right? How about the cloud? First of all, we need to have selected the image, not any of these adjustment layers. So let's select the image, and let's see if it considers the cloud a subject or not. I have a feeling it won't, but let's see. Click on select subject. Yeah, it kind of figured that maybe I'm talking about the cloud, but there's no way you can isolate one cloud from another. But still, this is a selection. We had made one kind of abrupt rectangular selection of the ocean. This is a selection that's much more nuanced and feathered. Feathered, by that I mean you can see a line right now that seems to be a straight line, but this is going to be a very feathered selection, so it's going to be pushing sideways. The whole point, though, is that I don't think it's really selecting one cloud. It's pretty weird to say that Photoshop thinks it can do that, but let's just test it out really quickly. I'm going to add, let me add, what can I do? Let me add, let's just for the testing out the setting, I'm not going to keep this one. I'm going to go one more time, believe it or not, for another hue saturation, because I want to be able to distinguish it between the other one. One more time, and let me just spread it over to the right and to the left. And there you go. You can see how it's done a too bad of a job of selecting something inside of something else. I wouldn't have thought it would be as good as it is, to say the truth. But if I really did want to maybe give it something really different, I guess, yeah, it's better than I expected. Let's just say that for an image like this, where really the colors now is so unreasonable and unreal, it managed to select it in such a way that it kind of becomes slightly believable. But let's go over here and look at what happened. This is what I wanted to show you. When we did that straight selection around the ocean, we got that bit looking like a mask. Now we got a selection that's looks like a cloud, and here's what the mask looks like. So the white area, is it the part that is being affected or not? Is the white area the part that is being affected by this adjustment layer? Yeah. And the black area is the part that's being masked out, the part that is not being affected. Okay. Now, can we modify those masks? Yes, we can. And that's what we're going to begin to learn in a little bit. I was expecting it to be so horrible that we immediately would want to modify it, but it's not as bad. But here's the thing. Those of you who've been with me before, look at this image that I'm showing you and tell me if I can trust it to be actually the way I'm seeing it. And I'm not going to give any more answers than that, because I want to see what you guys answer to that, to see how well my teachings arrive or land. Can I say that whatever I just did is a good? Uh-oh, I've been puzzling you guys. Let
I
me,
don't know what the question really is.
well, uh, the question has to do with, let me just say the keywords and let's see if that triggers it. You know it, Peggy? Go for it, Peggy. Tell me what I'm asking.
You need to look at 100%.
Yes, Peggy for the gold. Peggy for the gold. 100%. What does that mean? Over here in the bottom left, right now for my computer, and it'll be different for each computer, it says 16%. 16% means that I'm looking at this from afar, as if I was standing on one side of the room and on the other side of the room, I have a photo on a wall and it looks fine. But to really approach it and look at it as if I'm looking at a magazine or a frame and a portrait, I would have to see it at 100%. So how do I get to 100%? I'm going to do a shortcut, Command 1. I'm going to do Command 1. If you're on a PC, it's Control 1. Hold down the Control key on a PC and tap the number 1. And suddenly, I've zoomed in to 100% right there. But the thing is that I'm only seeing a little tiny bit of one of the clouds. So I'm going to hold down my space bar. I'm going to get a little hand over here. And I'm going to start dragging myself around the image to explore it. Well, first of all, I don't think that clouds cut themselves this way in the sky, but I don't think that my ocean was very good either. Look at that. The line that I made didn't really hit the right place. And when I approach these colors, look at how kind of weirdly they are reacting. It's like I have pixels of one color. Clouds should be fluffy and fluid. Over here, I have this little blue edge. So let's just say that this image, if it's going to be a complete fantasy image, sure, this part might not be bad. Definitely, I'd have to rework that horizon line. But look, lo behold, had you even noticed that we had 2 people in the water in this image? Had anyone noticed that? Ah, Rebecca, had you already gone to 100% or are you an eagle eye lady? As far as I'm
Either
concerned,
spots or people.
people, spots, seals, birds, right?
Yeah.
The whole point
I
is
didn't
that
know they were people, but I saw them.
whole point is you can't see an image until you go to 100%. Now, what we were doing adjustment layers for color and light and tones like that, you can do from afar because you can't grasp the whole image if you see it up at 100%, right? I'm just seeing little portions of it. But if I go back to fill my screen, that's Command for Mac, Control for PC, 0. I fill my screen again. Then over here, you can see the generality. So for color and for tone, this might work, but for detail and quality, you need to see it at 100%. Boom. Okay. So you can never forget to go to 100% to see it. Now over here, these clouds, it's a nice selection. It's fluffy. I believe the transition between this cloud and that. I just don't believe this transition, right? It looks like a little cutout. So when I let the computer do my my selection of that mask, it didn't do a mask that is very believable. But I can do better. I can do that same thing and do better. And let me show you what I mean by that. Well, first of all, the other thing that doesn't look too good is the fact that I have a preset over a preset. So this weird thing is starting to happen in the color. If I turn the first preset off, let me turn all the presets off. Turn all the presets off. Just go back to the regular, like turn all the little eyeballs off. And now let's go to the first image. And when you start with an image, the first thing you need to do is look at it 100%. Right now we went straight into modifications and stuff, and we're like, well, was the first image already a good enough quality to have been making these changes? Let's see. Command or Control 1. And now space bar down. And now click and drag yourself around and let's start looking. And one thing I'm discovering is that the ocean here is kind of out of focus. See in the front? It's pretty soft. That's not necessarily bad because what might be in focus is the clouds, but it's things to notice. The people, there they are. The colors. Yeah, looks like a realistic sky. Keep going. Yeah. So I am inspecting all the corners at 100%. And when the image has high resolution, which you'll learn more about when you read that handout, you'll discover that, yeah, the more imagery, the higher the resolution, the farther we'll have to go to inspect the whole thing at 100%. But you have to do that or you don't really know what you're working with. Now, another way to go with this image would have been to go with, ooh, this looks like a very stormy sky, like we can go dark and moody. There's so many different ways to go with this. But clearly, when we created these adjustment layers, we weren't going for realistic, right? But notice that, not the bottom one, but the first one we did, which was this one, that was realistic-ish enough on the cloudy area, but then look what happened here. We're beginning to get that kind of pixel. Let me go Command plus one more time so we go a little bit sooner. See how we were already beginning to create that weird pixelated effect when we did that original saturation? So we wouldn't have noticed this had we not explored it at 100%. So basically this, while a great graphic effect, is definitely not a good photographic effect to make this image correct, because that selection should have been much more feathered or gentle or nuanced. So we already began to create those lines even with the first one that we worked on, right? Or with the second one, when I added the second one, then it went, and then forget it, when I added the two others, things began to go really weird and bonkers and crazy with colors, okay? But we never were intending a realistic effect with this, and if you were thinking I was, then please stand corrected. I do not live in a world where this is the sky. Maybe you do. But just teaching you tools here. And then when we added that last one, then it really became kind of weird. But on the other hand, if this would be a poster for a movie about, I don't know, the apocalypse is coming or whatever, and nuclear weight, I mean, this wouldn't be so bad. But you have to check it out at 100%, or everything you're doing, you really can't tell until you get there. Okay. How do we get to zoom in and out? I just showed you the command 1 is 100%, command 0 is fit the screen. And then if I want to go smaller than fitting the screen, I keep doing command or control minus, 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 and I get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if I want to go bigger, I do command or control plus, 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 plus. So when I say command or control, command is for Mac and control for PCs. So Walter, you know, and anyone who's PC would do the control key, plus, 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 and I'm getting all the way in until I finally see the pixels. This is a bad example on yellow. You can barely see it. Let me move it to a different image. Over here, we can go control plus, 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 and you can see it a little bit better in this color, that I'm getting all the way into the pixels, okay? I'm gonna click and hold and see if I can go to where there's a transition between colors. Here we go. Here, this is that line in between orange and yellow at the max magnification I can go, which is 6400%. And I'm seeing each pixel, which only can have one color. So you can only have one color per pixel, and pixel is equivalent to the human cells in our body, so to say. And so these pixels, because photos or images created, visual images are created out of millions of pixels, then millions of these put together are what are giving me that black line between these colors. And the distance is what helps me see it as a black line. But in reality, there are no straight lines in Photoshop, in pixels. It's impossible. Even if you were to get one tiny line of pixels only and make it black, it invariably will feather out onto other pixels, and it'll always be a little bit woozy and wooey. The two examples that we have right now, both the clouds and the colors, don't really have the best example, but just a bit. Let's go to something that does, though, sorry. Let's go to something that does have some very sharp lines. Well, since we already opened the citrus, why not open the citrus again? Maybe you already still have it open. So you'd think there's some pretty sharp lines here between the citrus and the background. And yet when I go command plus, 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 now I'm gonna I'm gonna hold the space bar and move to the edges and command plus, plus, plus. You'll discover that nope, it never was a good straight line. Although you might say, well, it's because the lemon rind is not straight. But no, I trust me, if this had been a perfect circle, it would still have been a fuzzy, so to say, transition. Okay, which distinguishes photographs from, say, Illustrator, where you have perfect vector lines, which are perfectly sharp and never fuzz into one another unless you want to. And this is how your lines are made in Photoshop. I'm going to command minus, minus, minus a few more times. Command minus, minus, minus. Now this is a sharp image, right? And that seed looks pretty sharp. But when I go into that seed, I'm going to go center it and then keep going plus, plus into that seed. There we go. That's what creates the seed. The combination of many different pixels of different tones. Now imagine that we have only 10 pixels to describe a lemon. It's going to have less detail than if I have 1,000,000 pixels to describe a lemon, right? And so when we're talking about low resolution, high resolution, a lot of what we're talking about is how many pixels does an image have to describe. So if my whole photo was focusing on this one lemon slice, maybe 1,000,000 pixels will describe this one lemon slice. But if this is the whole photo, maybe there's only 200 pixels to describe this lemon slice, even though there's 1,000,000 pixels around among the whole thing. Does that make sense? So logically, there will be more detail if I'm focusing on just that than if I'm focusing on the whole. But that doesn't mean that this doesn't still have enough pixels to make for a great image. It just goes to show how the camera, let me backtrack. The camera will take a picture with as many pixels as it can take. So if you bought a camera or a phone, a lot of people are taking only with phones these days, you're limited to as many pixels as the camera can shoot. So if you have a 10 megapixel camera, that means that it can shoot a photo and put 10 millions of pixels in it, in each photo. That's megapixels, millions of pixels. If you shoot with a camera that's 40 megapixel, then you will have 40 million pixels describing that same shot. And if you take a picture, exact same picture with both cameras, you'll end up with the exact same photo, only one will have 30 million more pixels than the first one to describe that image. Does that make sense? That doesn't make for a better photo per se. In fact, you still might have a better photo with the 10 megapixel one if you have a better lenses and more sharpness and whatever, who knows. But what it means, really, the big difference with the 40 megapixel one or a 10 megapixel one would be that maybe with the 40 million pixel ones, I can cut into just this lemon slice and still get a 16 by 20 print out of it because I have so many pixels to describe it, versus on the 10 megapixel one, if I try to cut it out and get only that lemon, I might end up with only an 8 by 10 of it, of that one lemon slice. And if I shot it with a 4 megapixel camera and I try to zoom into this little bit, I might end up with just a little 2 by 3 of that lemon because I have less pixels that can describe that lemon. Does that make sense? Now, that's not to say that my 4 megapixel camera might not have a much nicer shot of that lemon if I shot it with a camera with really good lenses versus if I shot the 40 megapixel one with an iPhone that can make a 40 megapixel image, which by now the newest ones can. I'm not sure how much, but the iPhone 16 or even this one, I have a 15 Pro Max. I think it goes up to 48 megapixels. I don't know, but it's crazy how many pixels you can get. But that's it. But I'm stuck with the little camera lens that comes here instead of being able to get some good stuff, right? So I can still take great shots, but so it's not about the quality of the image. When I say quality, it's when we say high quality or high res means how many megapixels can fit into there. And if I do good lighting and I do have the camera steady enough and I photograph really well, I can still get a really good shot. I just won't be able to print it as big as I can if I have bazillions of pixels. Does that make sense, you guys? All right, so that's a beginning idea of how many, what the difference in amount of pixels it takes. So now if I go back to Bridge, I can start reading that information and go, let me see, this citrus photo that I had selected here. When I go over there, I discover that it has 4,000 by 6,000 pixels. So that means that 4,000 over there, 6,000 over here, just because it's more and it's in that direction. Is someone good at maths? How much is 4,000 times 6,000? If you have a calculator there, or if you have the kind of brain that my son has that can just do it in his brain. 4,000, I have a calculator, times 6,000. Of course, because of 4 by 20, it's 24, 1, 2, 3, 24 million pixels. So this image has 24 million pixels. We describe it as 4,000 by 600. What that means is that this line of pixels and that line of pixels, not all of the pixels in there, just there's 4,000 pixels right there and there's 6,000 pixels right there. Timed each other, that means that this whole image is made out of 24 million pixels, okay? Versus, I have a couple of really low res ones here. Where did I get my low res ones? Versus this one, down here, vintage black and white. 364 pixels by 640 pixels, which if I then do 396 times 640, that gives me 253,000 pixels. So if I actually look at this image and I try to think about it as an image, is it good quality? Right now you can even see that it's smaller, but yeah, the kids are sharp. You can see the little fringe on the girl's dress and everything are pretty sharp. It's just going to render a smaller image. It's not lesser quality, it's just smaller. Got it? You can also have a small image that's bad quality, but for the most part, what I'm talking about is a high quality image, just and tiny, because it has so few pixels. And this is what we need to go to the internet. We need very few pixels for the internet. And for print, we need bazillion amounts of pixels. So that same image, if I try to print it, I won't be able to print anything more than maybe a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch good photo. But it can make for a nice little shaped image for the internet, right? So we're going to talk a bit more about all of that. Just trying to show you a little bit of the power of beginning to understand what's happening here. And the metadata. The metadata is stuff that's inherent to the image that isn't visual, right? But that comes with the image. So it has how many pixels, what date was it taken, what camera took it, all the kind of information, what location tags, all that kind of stuff is the metadata of the image. All right, let's head back into Photoshop and I go ahead and zoom in to 100% and then zoom into some area where things aren't really that awesome and give me a little screenshot of that at 100%. And let's go ahead and put that in here, talking about the golden rule. Don't work on an image until you've zoomed into 100%. That's the only way to truly check out the quality of that image. Okay. But yeah, you have to be zoomed out to do color and stuff like that. But then after you do that, you need to zoom in again and check, did I mess it up? Yeah, definitely. This image with these colors that we added to it did get messed up. I'm noticing that I didn't have a chance to, this is showing, normally I wanted to do the other way around, that the newest goes first. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to, okay. It's gonna refresh And the new stuff goes on top, and the old stuff that we started with goes on the bottom, and the new stuff goes up higher. So anyway. Yeah, thank you for adding Control 1 or Command 1. I forgot to mention that on the shortcut. So Control plus Command 1 is 100%. And then Control slash Command 0 is fit in window. So the whole thing fits in the window again. There's more. And for the quick thing, because by the way, class is over. And I want to just do a couple more things, show you a couple more things that in the handouts here, I have, for those of you who are new to this, I have a handout that you're going to be using a lot of shortcuts. Here it is, Photoshop shortcuts. If you want to print this out and have it by your keyboard or something, here we go. Zoom in, Command plus, zoom out, Command minus, PC, Control plus, Control minus. 1 is 100%. See the entire image is Command 0. We're going to be using quite a few more, but that's the ones that we just covered. Okay. You can print it out and have it handy until you get to learn them, but we're going to be doing that.
I love Command Z.
Oh, yes. And one of the things, yeah.
It's like,
Thanks for one of the better ones is where did I go? Oh, did I just close my handouts? Just close my handouts. Give me a second. Come on. Photoshop. Yes, Command Z down here is the undos, multiple undos. We're going to talk about that. Undos Command Z. A Command Option Z is multiple undos. Pan around the image is what I just said. Hold down the space bar, you get that little hand and move around. Okay, so we actually did that one too. Anyway, there's other stuff that we're going to be doing, but Command Z is your best friend. When you make a mistake, don't hesitate, undo. And then try not to fix, but to undo. Okay, let's save everything. Really this one we just checked out stuff on, but we didn't do anything. And the same with the colors one. There's no need to save anything here. Close everything and don't save. I want to see if I can help Walter. You've been patient enough to stay until the end. If you guys have any questions, have anything on you want to add, please do so. Homework. I haven't, I just wrote down to explore more adjustment layers. But for those of you who are more advanced, okay, who know how to do more, please do some adjustment layers, but with some more masking. Maybe create another preset or two, that kind of stuff. Okay. And for now, that's all I'm going to ask you to do, and begin reading that handout. On Wednesday, we'll do a lot more, and you're going to have a lot more homework between Wednesday and Monday. Again, let me just say, homework is optional. It's not like you're going to fail the class if you don't know the homework. You will fail the class if you're not present and don't do the classwork, right? And the classwork is what you're showing in your Padlet. But any homework that you do, please screenshot it and put it again on the Padlet for me to see what you're doing, especially when it's not working, when you have questions, when something didn't work. So I don't know if you noticed, but in the Padlet, it says, please post your successes and your failures. And in fact, you learn more from your failures because then I get to show you stuff. So push the boundaries, grab a real photo and try to modify some of the colors, tones, light stuff using different ones of those adjustment layers, and play around with ones that, those of you who've used some before, find a new one you've never used and see what it does, and do some Googling and figure out how to use it, and then come surprise me with the use of another of the adjustment layers that you've never used before. Okay. All right. See you on Wednesday with discoveries, and I'm going to hang out here to try and help Walter. Okay. Everyone else, bye. All right, so Walter, let's see what's happening here. You have a computer that doesn't have Photoshop and a computer that does have Photoshop?
Yes, I have my laptop that has Photoshop and Bridge and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This
So-
computer is my wife's, and it doesn't have any of that, but
All right, so why can't we use your own computer that has it to work in the
this
class?
is a little bigger and I can see you better.
Okay, so let's do this. Keep this one to see me. That's fine. Just watch me in this one. But in your other computer, do the Photoshop work.
Okay, during the
That's
break, I tried to download Photoshop and everything, but I couldn't even
no,
find it.
yeah, you can't. You have to pay for it. I mean, it's like it's a whole different subscription. You
Yeah,
can
that's,
you can download it into two computers, by the way, if you have a subscription.
I
But
do.
let's go to your laptop.
Okay.
Leave this computer as the one that you watch me do things on. This is
Mm-hmm.
good. Now go to your laptop, open up your email, and click on your Zoom link and try to connect to the same class a second time. See how I'm here twice? I want you to do the same thing. And then I'm going to help you do that. And that's the best way at this point for you to be in class. Let me let my
Okay.
husband know that I'm still in class.
My email. I want to open my email. I've been having problems with my email.
Mm-hmm.
I have another class at the Wake Center, and my instructor's been sending me emails, but I haven't received any of them. And he just told me today. But so I'm having trouble with my email.
Well, it's possible that you're being sent to the pipeline account and that you maybe aren't looking at your pipeline account.
Okay.
Just go to your email right now and see if anything arrived from me. Let me go to your hand. Let me see if I have your email. Let me go to my rosters here and see if I do or not have your email, because I might not have it. So give me a second here.
Do you need my pipeline email or my
Um,
regular email?
either one. I'm just trying to see because I don't have the rosters available right now. I'm checking the roster to see if I have. I don't know if I have your pipeline email or not. I'm just trying to
Oh, okay.
find that right now while you do that. Here it is. I'm opening it right now. Let's see. Let's see. Hillbrand. Here we go. I have pipeline and oops. Hold on, because my computer's doing something else. So give me a second here. Okay. Let me see. I have, looks like I do not have your personal email here. Looks like I only have your pipeline email. So I don't, do you want to give me your personal
Sure,
email and
yeah.
I'll send you the info there? What is it?
Okay, it's all lowercase. It's Walt, W-A-L-T, Hild, H-I-L-D, at gmail.com.
Okay. So I'm going to show you later where you can put that in the school
Okay,
so that people can email you to your personal one as well. But for now, I'm just gonna mark it and know that I need to, here we go. So I'm going to send you an email to your personal email now with the Zoom link for Photoshop so that you can try to connect. Here we go. So on your personal computer, can you access your
Yeah.
personal email?
Let me do here.
Okay, so I just sent it, which means it'll take a little bit to go.
Okay.
Um, okay, check in whenever you find it, let me know.
Doggone it.
Did you receive it?
I didn't get it, honey, but like I said, I've had trouble with my email today,
Hmm.
so it's probably here somewhere, but
Even your personal email? Are you on a Mac? Is your computer a Mac?
yes, it's a MacBook.
Okay, just so you know, I teach the Mac classes and I help people handle their computers, and it would
We have
be
to take that class.
great if you could. It's Mondays and Wednesdays from right now, it's from 1 to 4 p.m. So if you want to join us, I've just finished with Into the Mac and we're in Mac level 1. So it started today. If you want to join us and if you have time to
That's
be.
at the Wake Center.
Nope, it's also
Oh.
on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
It's also on Zoom, so I can tell you about that if you're interested in that. Might give
Okay.
you a hand handling things like your email.
And in the meantime, I know before
Mhm.
Wednesday, I will get this fixed because
Okay, no problem.
I really appreciate all your help.
You're welcome.
And your
Don't
class
worry.
is really interesting to me. Thank
That's
you.
great. Don't worry. And really, don't worry if perchance this is something that right now feels like it's too much. Just keep with it. And I can't tell you how many of the people who are here in the class right now kind of had to listen in a bit at first, and then they just took the class again, and then they just like do it, get much more, and then
Uh-huh.
finally they're really good at working with their photos. So
Yeah.
don't despair, and I'll give you a hand
Oh,
as
I
much as I
won't.
can.
I won't. And I
Okay,
thank you, Maria.
you're welcome.
All right. Have a
All
good
right.
evening.
You too. Good
Okay,
night.
bye.